Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Escoffier Conversations, as the master said to his pupils. This is my wonderful guest today, Mr. Cedric Escoffier, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you on. And thank you so much for joining us. Very, very, very kind of you. Cedric is a very well-read and very well-learned gentleman who have multiple trades and schools in life, and is a good guitarist as well. in my opinion, I've seen him play.
You're gonna make me blush.
He's a very humble gentleman.
Make me blush. Yeah.
Anyways, we left off recently on discussing Rolling Stones, but Carl Jung you were reading recently, weren't you?
Carl Jung. Yeah, I was reading Carl Jung. I was reading only about the shadow and the analysis of dreams and stuff like that. So, for example, when you have a dream, Carl Jung was saying that everything that was happening in your dream was part of the second life that was hidden from your conscious view of things. So when you're awake, you have this part of your life, and then when you have a dream, there's another part of your life that's hidden from you that you can only see when you sleep, like the manifestation of the subconscious. I think I've broken your microphone.
Oh, sorry. To apologize. Technical difficulties. I forgot to do the small bits and bobs before we did this. It's my fault. I do apologize. Anyway, yeah. So a second life outside of the.
Yeah, well, a second life was not only a second life, but a parallel life to the one that you experience when you're awake during your daily life, which is basically accumulated into your subconscious, which you can see in your dreams. But what Carl Jung was saying was that when you analyze your own dreams, it's not like you buy a book in a store where it says, you've turned to an elevator and it means this or that. It's basically about everything that you felt in the dream, every perception that you've had in the dream. So every little detail you have to pay attention to in order to find what the dream was trying to tell you. So I've been keeping myself a little dream journal, and I've been writing all my dreams down for the past month or something. And yeah.
Oh, how very interesting. So it's like because I was watching an interview from 1959 with him this morning. You stirred my
curiosity.
not research, but I've been doing my kind of reading back up on Jungian prospects, and I've forgotten how amazing he is, and he's very inspirational speaker as well.
He's very poetic in the way he speaks and in the way he writes as well.
He's very sensitive to conversation. He awaits when the person's finished and then thinks and then takes it onto not necessarily his grounds, but addresses the topics of conversation kind of as he would like to.
Bring it onto himself or onto the other person. He tries to stay on the topic.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
You have it how you want it. So if you want to have it like sort of that, like if you want to kind of look over.
Well, I just want to see your face, man.
Yeah. Oh, did you want to? Is it down there?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Just make sure you have it like sort of reasonably close.
Right. Yeah. Cool. All right, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah. Where were we?
Sorry, I keep interrupting you with.
So yeah, Carl Jung. Yeah, very poetic man as well. Like he had an ability to see through the surface of the world, let's say. Like how in old time religion they speak about all kinds of like mystical concepts and stuff like that.
He seems very ahead of his time in terms of his mental ability, like the way that he kind of addresses like the zeitgeist or the kind of the way that he addresses the mental times that we live in, as it were. Like if I can't really quite describe it well. Like that he kind of he approaches our consciousness in the moment in such a succinct and beautiful way, and he does it as well so that he doesn't sound how would one say it? Bias towards his own writings of it as well. So sort of very symbolism and bringing that in. He doesn't seem to tarnish his own words with it. He very much cares for the topic that is being addressed at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, what he's been doing, really, I mean, it's basically when I read him, even though he goes into psychology, even though he talks about the psyche and everything like that, it's more like he's reworded everything that was from the past. So I don't know, you must know a little bit about Gnosticism, right? You know, the demiurge and like Sophia with the full of wisdom and that kind of stuff, and the Garden of Eden, all of that stuff. Well, it feels like people, when Carl Jung was alive, it felt like people had lost the way of seeing those things, because with the upcoming technology and everything like that, people lose their sense of I'd say poetic truth. Like I think that in every human being there's a sense that there's something that you can't explain, so you can only say it through some kind of poetic input. Like it's nothing scientific or anything like that. It's more like a humane experience that you have. Do you get what I mean?
I think so.
Yeah. But I think that's what the religions were talking about. The religions of old, so Gnosticism and I don't know, Manichaeanism, obviously Christianity and Islam and all of that. But there was such a sense of fatality in their writings and urgency that it gave people that sense of poetry, that they were being judged and by some kind of God above, or that nature was actually a being in itself that was, if you don't follow the rules, nature is going to punish you.
Yes.
But I feel like with the advancement of technology, then people have sort of forgotten all of that. And that's what Nietzsche was saying when he said God is dead. He wasn't saying that as a celebration of anything. He was saying it as as a mourning kind of thing. Because he was warning people against nihilism. And yeah, I think that's what Carl Jung was doing, basically rewording everything for the modern times.
Yeah, it's I was watching after I watched the interview with that. It was just going on from what you're saying there. It's I was watching Jordan Peterson being interviewed, and he went on to discuss the nature of the unknown.
Yeah,
which I think is a very important part of it, and it's the building blocks of personality that make up our conscious and what we are, and everything, and what guides those principles, and how we kind of almost take care of those building blocks by what we learn and what we read.
Because you're born with a certain set of attributes that you might inherit from either from the past or from your parents or from. You know how DNA gives you your nose or your eyes,
absolutely,
your facial features, your body. Well, in your childhood, you probably develop those things as well.
Yeah, and you have certain things that you definitely are more acute to learning certain patterns, maybe more differently or better or worse than other people because of your inherited genes. And it's it's your ability to. I personally adore my because it's also akin to my own personal understanding of the world as well, is the mathematical construct of everything. Is that I do believe that everything is all a humongous, massively complicated system of numbers, and I think the better that you understand your environment and the numbers that kind of make up what existence is in terms of your brain and your relationship to everything around you, then the more that you can kind of manipulate, or the more that you can put things within your favor. So like
if you understand the mathematics of it,
but it's mathematics in its most broadest sense. So for example, algebra of like substituting one thing for another in its relationship to something else. So I went out last night and I had a bit too much to drink. Henceforth, I'm on top of the fact that I have to go into work tomorrow. I have these certain my body will give me these certain needs. I will need to maybe eat more lipids. I will need to have more sugar ingested. So I might have to, like I had a kebab last night, so it means that I might feel a little bit sickly because it wasn't cooked properly. There's all these little A plus B equals C plus R, and then squared kind of, and,
details.
Exactly.
Details that make up a bigger road. It's like grains of sand.
Absolutely.
Or like little patches of grass
Yeah,
on the road.
and the small pebbles that make up an avalanche
That's
as well.
it. Yeah,
of
yeah,
you
like
moving
little
towards-
snowflakes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that make up the
absolutely.
bigger as a whole. It's like you said to me one time. I can't remember. We were talking about family, and you said that family was very important because your ancestry flowed through your blood.
Hmm.
And there's something you said to me, and I thought, that was a good point, because it is. The past is inside of you, and as you're in the present now, your sons and daughters will be the future of that. And I think we all have to remember that.
Yeah.
That your family is important, that you're part of something greater, and that's what Carl Jung was saying as well. That your subconscious and the unconscious was basically from ancestry, that we were all carrying all of the memories of the past, which brings us to today.
Mm.
And we have sort of kind of have a mission to redeem ourselves in society.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in society, but in the eyes of
The future, almost. Of
yeah,
making
yeah,
things
in
better
yeah,
in the
yeah,
future.
for the future. Yeah, that's what you have. Yeah, for the future. Yeah, to redeem yourself for the future, for the betterment of humanity and the world. And it's a bit of a cheesy thing to say, really.
No.
I like to think it's a cheesy thing to say, because when I was young, I was thinking,
Well, you hear
fuck
it quite a
this.
lot though, but it's the reasons why the reasons for hearing things which are repeated so often is because they are the
Important.
things that are repeated are the
Important,
wisest
but they're
things to
usually
say.
taken for granted after
Yeah.
a while. So
the re-
people tend to forget it because, there's nothing to show them that it's really true, except for a few words that you see on TV or in an advert. Something, okay.
Yeah, and
But
then
you
you
don't
come on to
really-
things like hypnosis, which is repeating things for yourself to
Yeah.
get you into a good pattern and repetition.
Yeah.
And then you get things like bullshit things like a lot of marketing and things like that, which are things which are sprayed at you constantly, and they're repeated and sprayed and
Yeah.
repeated and sprayed. And if you have it enough, then eventually something is subconscious. Why am I thinking about mustard? And it's because you've seen 5 adverts for mustard at the moment, and then and then we go back to mathematics, and it's because of the fact that there's a larger stock of mustard seeds which have been produced, which have then been turned into the raw product, which then, if they are not sold, then they'll go off. So there's and then we got onto supply and demand and economics and things, and
what was it again in the Wolf of Wall Street? Sell me this pen.
Oh yeah, supply and demand.
Yes, supply and demand. I watched that scene last night. I was like, what?
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving back though to what we were saying earlier with things like Carl Jung's symbolism. I put some things out because these are little.
I figured, man. I thought that was gonna be. I did when I saw that it wasn't. It wasn't Buddha, but
the laughing the happy cat or waving cat, and it's I can't remember. So it's a. I think it's I think the Chinese or Japanese are very fond of it, but I think it's a Thai or in its origin of a lucky cat. There we go, the lucky cat, and gold is the color of the Buddha.
Yeah,
that's the reason why I've gone.
I've got a bad eyesight, so when I saw it from far away, I thought, "Is that Buddha?"
Yeah, I suppose gold can almost go green for some eyes as well.
Gold.
Yeah, gold can almost be a green kind of tint sometimes as well.
Yeah, you have to be
I've had for some people. I might be talking out my arse. Don't worry, I do that.
Never heard of it.
And I have my meditation balls as well.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Twisted.
Oh wow!
You do a full circle with them.
Full circle? What do you mean?
So place them in the same hand.
Yeah.
Do you want me to show you?
Yeah, show me.
So you do that, and you place them in the same palm.
Oh right.
And then you can do that, and then you can reverse direction.
Have you meditated?
Not in a religious sense,
No,
not in a spiritual, but
this-
kind of. I mean, in some spiritual sense, I like. I love the thought of encasing myself in a moment, if that makes any sense. So I love, I sit and I have I love dual screening. So I love having like a laptop and a television going. I love playing a video game and having something silly or scientific. I love the thought that my subconscious is taken care of constantly. Or when I read a book, I always have I play an album which was made, or music which was made at the same time. So when I was reading Machiavelli's The Prince, I was listening to all.
Have you read the 48 Laws of Power?
Nope, I haven't yet. But I found people like Alexandria and like Bartolomeo and things like that, and all these weird little just side-on Baroque
Who was that
artists.
very famous
who
family
were
in Italy?
which one? Medici's?
That's it, Medici's.
Yeah, the
Apparently,
Medici's.
they're the one that were responsible for the Renaissance. Apparently, they funded everything in Florence. They were the biggest bankers, and they funded Michelangelo. They funded who else did they fund? Leonardo da Vinci.
They are key players within the Renaissance.
Apparently,
and
two of them
the key
became
players.
popes. Pope Leo the Tenth. Something like that.
And one of them as well was another one was the what Cesare and Rodrigo Borgias. The Borgias are another very important family as well. Rodrigo Borgia, who was Pope Alexander the 16th at one point, and he was he very much was he's a very just from my understanding, because I love Italian history. It's one of my favorite because it's such a war-torn, crazy, amazing. It's batshit insane, that country. It really is. And God respect for them, because they have seen a lot of war, but also a lot of like the I love that bit in the the film The Third Man.
Third Man.
Yeah, and it's Orson Welles, and it's one of the most like famous pieces of black and white cinema during 1940s. And there's a great he has a great speech, and a lot of it he ad-libbed, and the end bit he says he gives this big speech to the guy, and he says it's Italy. They had over 1,000 years of war, corruption, and overpaying, and it produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, the Renaissance, and some of the greatest works of art, and also weaponry and beautiful civilizations the world has ever seen. And then you go over to Switzerland, and they've had over 500 years of peace and brotherly love. And what did that produce? The cuckoo clock. And he goes, so long, happily. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. But then I love akinning that to things like the broad mathematics of human history and everything. It's the plus and minuses that make up the moments that we live in, and everything. And it's all, you realize that diversity is the key to life, and moderation and diversity.
Well, it's like going back to DNA. If you have sex with your sister and you impregnate your sister, then the DNA isn't going to take away the negative thing. I don't know how to word it.
You're limiting the gene pool.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. But you have a reasonable understanding from what I understand of like things like at least like science. Like science as a whole, you seem to have quite a in terms
not
of
particularly. I don't think so. I think I'm mostly interested in certain aspects of it. So usually, no, I wouldn't say that. I don't.
This isn't bad, by the way. This is actually quite
it's
nice.
It's
very fruity. Yeah, because it's fruity is my favorite.
Absolutely. Yeah, Blossom Hill, soft and fruity.
Oh, salut,
monsieur.
Salut. Come on, join me.
Where's
my click?
Here you go. Here's the click.
Oh, meu Dieu. Good Lord.
I'm almost out.
Oh, you nutter. Why'd you take the rest?
It's done.
You crazy Frenchman.
First bottle
Good Lord.
Yeah, what were we saying?
See, look, I have one viewer. One viewer. There's one person always watching. Nice. I love it.
Who is the mysterious person?
I don't know. I hope I never lose them though. I'd be happy. They're the reason why I do this channel at the moment. Is
just for that single person.
One person. As long as that one person turns up every time, I will never stop doing this channel. I love doing it. I love doing this. I love having a rapport, a beat conversation between two human beings. I love having a drink. I love having. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I just thought,
start making me cry, man. I'm gonna come on here more often and do more of these. Just sit down with you and talk.
Oh, dude, absolutely. But that's the thing, though, is that I think that this is part of the human experience, and it's a shame
definitely,
to
I mean, we were
record
born.
it.
We were born, we were born storytellers. Anyway, this is what humanity has done.
I'm the old man in the village. That is my.
Yeah, you are, man. You're like a walking encyclopedia. Honestly, man. When I talk to you at work, he goes on for hours about the one single thing. You mention him one thing, he goes on and talks about another.
It's the tributaries.
You're connecting everything.
Paths between everything. Absolutely. But yeah, that's like because there's so much to talk about in life, and I have so much that I want to talk about, and
so much you want to know, so much you want to talk about.
I'm so greedy for knowledge. I always have been. Ever since I was a kid, I was like, oh god, I remember.
But have you ever wondered why?
Like, For me personally, it's my family. I definitely think it's my brothers and the people. My family. My parents said make sure that you surround yourself with incredible, amazing people that at least know what they talk about or are good enough to question themselves and say I may be wrong on this or like and are not only that but are open to learning new things, not open to being proved wrong or to teaching you you for the right reasons, for teaching you, for saying
to advance. I think it's mostly to advance into your own personal journey, or maybe I'm too much into Carl Jung when I say that. But
no, please. I've been doing lots.
I always see some kind of relation between wanting to acquire knowledge and the knowledge of the world around you with similarity to acquiring knowledge of the inside of yourself. Maybe I'm self-obsessed, but that's the way I see things. The more you want to learn about the outside of world, the more outside world, but the more it's to get you advanced inside your own self-growth, so to speak. Do you get what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely understand that. And the reason why is because I think that is akin to the greatest human question, which is why we are here.
That is it.
Why are we here?
That
what
is
the
it.
fuck
Why
is
are
the
we
point
here?
in all of this?
Why are we here?
Why are we like? And then that.
Yeah.
me,
And do you even know if wait?
That's
do
the
you know,
macro universe. And
do you know what the question even? Do you know what the second question is? How do you know you're even here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you
We
know
found
you
out
are?
where we were, man, but I just don't know if I'm here anymore.
Yeah, Carl Jung saying that he supposedly discovered his own self-consciousness at the age of 11 when he said, and he talks about coming out of the mist.
Yeah, that's it.
It's
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, and I was thinking about Immanuel Kant, the philosopher.
Oh, I didn't. I know a little bit, but educate me.
Well, basically, he had this theory between the phenomenal world and the noumenal world. So the phenomenal world was the world of the senses, how I see you, how basically the objective world, and the noumenal world was the world that couldn't be known without your subjective view. So if you weren't there, then that's what the noumenal world is. So what were we saying before that?
Why are we here?
Why are we here?
Of
no,
existence.
how are we here?
How are we here? Yeah, second question.
Yeah, we're on the second question. The first
no,
question.
Because I was saying the first question is why are we
Where
here?
are we
and the
here?
second one is how
do
are
you
we
even
here?
know you're here?
Yeah.
No, this was it. Do
Yeah.
you even know you're here? Yeah. So even if you weren't there, how would you? That's the question. Would there be a world if you weren't there? So what I'm saying is that if your own consciousness, how in Eastern philosophy they say I is not, that kind of stuff. Like there is no I, there is no self.
Yeah.
The concept of in Buddhism they call it anatman, which basically means no self. So basically you have no self. There is no such thing as an individual you more than there is a collective central you, which is supposed to be the whole of the world, because you give birth to the world and the world gives birth to you, but because you're caught in between, then surely there's no you, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
have you heard of that?
No, I think I know what you mean. I think it's a lot of that's akin to things like one of my favorite ones is that really silly but yet genius one of, I think it's who's that a very famous Eastern philosopher, the really old one, really old, during the Tang dynasty or something like that. What's his name? Not Nietzsche. Oh God, it's Confucius, and he said one of his great. I'm pretty sure it's Confucius. One of his great ones is when I don't see you, do you even exist? So when we're not talking now and you leave the room, you're not technically, because of my understanding of reality. You might not even.
You can see.
Is there any purpose of you not existing? But of course, it's like if the tree falls in the forest,
that's what I was
around
say.
to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, then we have the micro universe though, which is governed by the love. I fucking adore science for it, because then you have cause and effect.
Yeah.
And you have things like of course, if we are taking this as an equation, if we take the equation as a oh God, what's it? As a fuck you, brain. What's it called? When it's when a number is a number. If we take the equation as an integer, and we say that it is sound,
Yeah.
then we say, of course, if a tree falls in the forest, then
the sound is there.
then through the passage of time, through moving one moment to the next of the nanoseconds that exist within time,
okay.
of course, there's going to be ground changing underneath. There'll be earthworms. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
even an
You
earthworm
mean like a
crawling
proof, like a
underneath.
trace,
Yeah,
a small
There's
glimmer that
yeah.
something has happened that you
An
can trace back.
Yeah, an earthworm has gained just enough energy so that all of the passage of time
Yeah,
within
this
this
is
old
cool, man.
tree has
Yeah.
just its roots are just coming to the point where it's
Yeah.
about to split, and all of a sudden an earthworm provides that 0.0001
Because it's like a
percent
series
extra.
of effects.
Absolutely, and then the tree falls, and then as a result of the tree falling, the energy which is generated through the fall then creates what is sound waves, and that is
and
a
the
truth
result of
universally
what
known,
happens, and the cause and the effect becomes the cause of the effect,
absolutely,
so on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is such a nice thing to think about, though.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's
beautiful,
very
isn't
humbling. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like that's the this is my favorite way to converse. And already 25 minutes. You see, this is the
25
reason
minutes.
why
Oh my God.
the reason why I do it is because it flies, and
Yeah,
you realize.
I thought we were only like 10 minutes in.
No, it's the beautiful passage of time.
I'm getting a bit more relaxed as well.
Are you enjoying my balls?
Yeah, I love you.
Good, all right, yeah, man.
These balls, by the way,
Yeah.
not his balls.
Secretly, he's got one really long arm. I'm not aware of.
It's just under the table.
For those of you that are listening, very very wonderfully of you. I have a pair of Eastern origin meditation balls, which are a pair of just perfectly sized and circumferenced balls, which you place within the palm of your hand, and you turn them about themselves, and then you can also reverse direction, and it's and you get faster and whatnot, and you can also involve more, and you can buy a second set, you can get them in both hands, and it's there's something magical about the repetition of it. It's which kind of grants you mental freedom in a moment. Like that's
but you've never meditated?
Not properly, but
you've
kind
never
of
closed your eyes for half an hour and focused on your breath?
I may have done. I used to do a taekwondo when I was 9, 8, but then my teacher turned out to be dodgy. Like, but that was like long after.
She was dodgy?
He was dodgy. That's like a. It's like a really not cool conversation.
Shall we go into it, or
the
audience wants to know?
Dude, cause and effect is not good on this one.
Okay, we'll just forget about this.
Yeah, it's probably for better. I wasn't involved in
there was a dodgy teacher,
I was not in, but there was violation of life was involved.
Oh shit! Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
let's move on.
Absolutely. Anyway, yeah, so that's just one of the objects. Another one as well is this one is a particular one I'm proud of. Daniel Pashoff, if you're watching, look what I still own. This is a oh god, how do you call it? A Nutcracker style bust, which my another guy that was on the very first
everything's
podcast.
Got to do with balls and nuts, on
I'm secretly gay. Very very underline.
No, there is pussy. So.
Oh, dude, there's a lot of pus contained within this wonderful box as well. Right. But yeah, the Nutcracker guy though is a little chess award though. The Daniel and I exchange between each other of whenever we beat each other in person.
Yeah.
In chess, we swap it out with each other.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, as the hit flask was a gift from a very very good Greek friend of mine who's currently on holiday and away at the moment.
There is something there.
Oh god, yeah, there is something. I don't know what it is. It's very old.
Communist.
Yeah, he. I don't know. I think he found it somewhere, and then I washed it out and brought it with me to some event somewhere. Yeah, see what's in it.
Yeah, it's whiskey.
Yeah, it was probably Jack Daniels. What's my?
Yeah, that's what it smells like. I can't drink
favorite.
Jack Daniels anymore.
Really?
No, I had a whole bottle when I was 14.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah,
If anything will do it,
never
that'll.
been so sick.
I'm the same thing with them. I can't do screwdrivers.
Screwdrivers.
Vodka and orange juice. I can't physically stomach anymore because I just hammered it when I was like sort of 16, 17.
Yeah.
Like I cannot physically
I
put
bet.
that mixture in myself. And it's the combination of that, dude. It's horrendous. I used to do a combination of that and rosé. Yeah,
Rosé.
yeah, rosé with
What were you-
rosé and screwdrivers because it's the
Really?
cheapest things that are available.
True,
It's
yeah.
the
I don't like
only
the taste of rosé though. It's a bit
blank. There's
bland.
some sickliness to
Yeah.
it that I can't. Dude, that's the reason why I love.
Yeah, go for wine.
Like, oh, dude, red
Red
wine is the
yeah.
one. Red wine has never upset me.
No, it never has, is it?
I once in second year of university, I once just stayed in and just drank an entire bottle of red wine. It wasn't the strong stuff, but I just sat and it was one of the most lovely evenings. I watched Mulan, you know the film, the Disney Mulan.
Mulan. Oh,
Yeah,
is that with the Chinese girl?
Yeah, the Disney
Yeah.
film. It was one of the best evenings I'd ever had. I was feeling a bit ill, so I
Yeah.
just kind of stayed in and I drank this entire bottle. And before I
Mm.
knew it, I drank it and then I passed out and it was wonderful. It was like a really nice sleep. I slept for
Yeah.
about 13, 12 hours. It was
Yeah,
gorgeous.
wine relaxes you.
Yeah, it was so good, man.
It's so nice, man. That's why people have it after work every day. You know how you usually hear about those women that have half a glass of bottle of wine or like
Yeah.
half a bottle of wine.
I don't hate on that.
No,
Absolutely.
I don't hate on that either, but I totally understand them. why they
Absolutely, yeah.
have it. Yeah.
Especially as you get older as well, you kind of understand the necessity to do that. 'Cause you're like, oh wow, like it's like these. Oh god, I mean it in the most humble, nicest sense of people that kind of paint themselves into working corners where they have this shitty, like really bad
Paint
9 to 5, and they've been working it for like 20 years,
Oh,
and they've
shit.
have like a glass of wine, like a huge, like big glass of wine at the end of the day, and I'm like,
What's
no,
the
yeah.
song again? A working class hero
Oh.
is something to be.
Oh god, no, I don't.
No, John Lennon.
Oh right, no, I probably
Working
wouldn't
class
know.
hero is something to be.
I'm Paul McCartney, a bit more.
Oh, yeah.
fancy, yeah. He's a
I'm-
bit more like.
What about George Harrison? Yeah, he is. Yeah, isn't he?
I do like George. I wish I listened more to George because I've only
What
found
about
George over
Ringo?
the past 3.
No one ever talks about Ringo.
Dude, I love Octopus's Garden.
Yeah.
I love Octopus's Garden. It's my favorite Beatles record.
record.
In the shade, he'd let us in. Knows where we've been. Knowing that we're happy and we're safe. Happy and
Yeah.
we're safe. Oh god, what's the other one as well? I love that.
Oh, he's made the whole album.
Who's oh dude, I need to listen to it then. I haven't heard it. Who's what was the famous one where they take the piss out of the Beach Boys? Is it Back in the USSR? Yeah, Back in the USSR, that record. That's the one where they take the
That's
mick
taking
out of the
Why?
they take the mick out the Beach Boys because they do the same harmonizing thing the Beach Boys used to do, where they go, well, the
yeah.
Ukraine girls really nice, and they in the background they go, ooh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got some tunes for Beach Boys though. Beach Boys.
oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. I like
Good
pets. I like pet
vibrations.
sounds a lot.
Good Vibrations. I have one problem with that song because it's one of my favorite songs ever, and it's that on the refrain
Yeah.
they shouldn't have come back. I don't think they should have come back to the to the song. I mean, to the rest of it. They should have,
Yeah.
they should have stayed out
Apparently they
there.
ripped off Chuck Berry.
And then they go. Like,
Yeah, that
but
was.
I didn't want them to
I
come
like-
back.
I like the
think they should have
south part.
sailed
Yeah, I
away.
like the
They should
south
have
part.
sailed
Yeah.
away off into the
Yeah,
the
I get what you
sunset,
mean,
but then they
yeah.
come back to the beach again.
Yeah.
Like, oh god.
Yeah, because we've got such nice verses and stuff, and you know, like it's very soft and it's very mellow, and then all of a sudden we go. And you're like, what's going on? Because I don't know if you've ever played like a loud a song that you didn't know, and you play like an album very loud in your house, and there's a song like that, and your stereo is up, and
Oh, you're in
it
another
starts
part
off
of your
very
house
slow.
and it's too loud and you have to go and turn it down.
No. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you listening to a very soft song, you've never heard it before, and suddenly the chorus comes, and it's like boom, boom.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you what I've gotten back into recently. Bee Gees.
Bee
I've
Gees.
forgotten how much I love that. Oh,
you
you
can
can tell by the way I use my walk on the walk of fame. No time to talk. You then live. It ain't hard. I've been kicked around but since I was born, but that's all right. That's okay. Oh, dude, I fucking
I'm
love
not
the
a
Bee
fan of the
Gees.
Bee Gees.
Oh,
No.
dude, they've got some absolute tunes. How Deep Is Your Love is like one of the most beautiful songs.
Really?
Yeah, the chords that they use for it are gorgeous. Like, watch John Frusciante from the Chili Peppers. is a big Bee Gees fan,
Oh,
and he does an individual live version. And when they were doing the not Californication, the tour after that, so it would be so in between By the Way and Stadium Arcadium, they were doing a lot of tours. And one of the tours that they did, which was live at Slane Castle, which is one of my favorite all-time live shows ever.
Yeah.
He does How Deep Is Your Love, and it's one of the most beautiful.
I've never heard it.
It's fantastic. I'll after the podcast I'll show it to you. It's gorgeous.
Sounds
It's
good.
absolutely fantastic. But yeah, like things like that, and then another one as well. Another one that pulls my heartstrings directly out was the last Beatles performance on top of the Apple headquarters.
Oh fuck, I remember that.
Don't let me down. Don't let me down. And from the first time that you really done me. And then Paul and John on the on the tempo as well, on the yeah, and then Paul goes, "Yeah, she does." I guess nobody ever
loved me like she does.
Exactly, and they have this because they haven't spoken in a while, and they've obviously had such a
Oh,
history
yeah,
together,
that's
and they
such a
were
bad
school
time.
chums, and they had
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff, and it was lovely to see because there's this real moment
Brotherly
between
love.
them, of real brotherly love between them, and it's
Yeah.
so cool to see that, like this-
Sentimentality.
yeah, and it like and they also have this I guess no, and they look at each other, and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. I remember seeing it. Yeah, I got it on video, I think. VHS.
Oh,
Yeah, the
man.
Beatles on the roof.
Those are the days.
Those were the days, man. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, same, man. I kind of. I mean, I'm like, I remember what I remember when my parents were doing the front room up when I was a kid, and they moved like the VHS and the TV into the next room. I remember spending a good 8 hours that whole day just sitting in there, just watching VHSs.
Oh yeah.
I just sat and watched VHSs and like
Yeah.
occasionally read books off because there's like bookshelf behind me. But yeah, like it was like one of my favorite days ever. And I watched like loads of films. I was like, these films are sick. Like loads of
Yeah.
these old films that like it's where I fell in love with loads of old movies.
Well,
like
like
I
The
found
Kid.
why they were so good. Oh, go watch Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin.
Oh God, don't
Yeah.
mention that movie to me. I
I saw
cry.
it in the cinema.
Oh no, I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Where did you see it?
Number, you know that cinema I told you about, number
Oh,
9 or number
yeah.
6.
No, I
in-
remember you telling me about
in the
that.
Portsmouth
Yeah.
Dockyard. Yeah,
Oh,
you really need to
that's-
go down there, man. There's
I
a lot
do.
of independent films, foreign films, films that aren't well known that won't make it to the mainstream cinemas, stuff like that. Obviously, there's no popcorn, but there's wine. So
That'll do. That's
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
And it's only one film per evening, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, something like that.
Yeah.
Entrance is about £5. Nobody is there. You're probably between you.
Oh,
There's like it's a whole empty theater apart from you and maybe 5 other people.
yeah.
But it's a very nice place, man. No one like with all kinds of films. So
Oh,
it's worth
dude.
going.
That sounds dope.
Yeah. Honestly, it's in the dockyards, the old dockyards as well.
Dude, we'll fucking go one
Yeah,
evening
man.
then.
Yeah. Definitely. I
I'm
saw
well
a
down for
documentary
that.
about Fela Kuti, which is who is
Heard.
a Nigerian musician who made
Yeah.
all that Afrobeat music and basically was fighting against the government. The government broke into his house, killed his mom, all kinds of stuff.
Fuck.
Yeah, and he studied in England, trying to get himself out of Nigeria and stuff like that until he picked up the saxophone, started composing his own music, went very big, and fought against the government all of his life until he finally died.
Oh,
But he was a
man.
great man, honestly. He's worth checking out. Musically, he's
Oh,
great.
gee. I
He's
love people
great.
like that.
He's great because all of his rhythm are it's not your 4/4 time beats.
Yeah.
It's not like
Like,
yeah. There's more, because he's African, so it's mostly African rhythms, and you really start getting into that tribal sort of
absolutely.
jazz.
Like a heavy heartbeat. Like
Yeah,
your heartbeat
yeah.
as you're running.
Yeah. I
Almost,
mean,
yeah.
because African musicians are some of the greatest musicians there are.
Easily.
They honestly feel it, and
Dude.
they don't even need like time signatures or to write down their music. It's just all
Funk
by
and
feel.
jazz. Funk
Yeah,
and jazz.
funk
My
and
two
jazz, yeah.
my two babies. My two absolute and then the fucking blues as well.
Oh,
I mean,
blues, yeah.
for God's
Yeah, but
sake.
blues wasn't. But blues
Oh.
wasn't as rhythmic. It wasn't as complicated. So mostly when you're talking about blues, you're talking about 6/8. So
yeah. And then that speeded up though as well though. Train, boxcars.
trains, boxcars. Oh yeah. Because they're based a lot on that as well.
Yeah, but I suppose then that's kind of I know what you mean. That's a bit more of a blend of the funk kind of like.
Yeah, I
like
mean
the
blues
birth
is
of it.
different from jazz because it
Mm.
seems like
Oh, people
I like
think
to
that
fi-
funk is more of a 70s thing though as well, but funk
Yeah,
is
I
actually
like
a 50s, late 50s
it?
is the birth of it. Yeah, James Jamerson, Funk Brothers,
Never
is
heard.
late 50s or 59. Or he's the first god. Paul McCartney. Watch
Paul McCartney.
watch Paul McCartney talk about James Jamerson, because James Jamerson
Alright.
is Paul McCartney's favorite bassist.
Okay.
And James Jamerson knew people like he knew a guy called Monk Montgomery. Monk Montgomery was the first.
Montgomery.
Yeah, he was.
Isn't there a famous guitar player called Montgomery?
Monk. There's Montgomery Monk.
No.
But then there's also Monk Montgomery. Monk Montgomery though is the electric bass was kind of first given birth to in Seattle, as we properly know it.
Yeah.
And then Fender, not long afterwards, made, I think almost in the same year, or at least a couple of months afterwards, made a market available electric bass, and Monk Montgomery toured with the very first electric Fender bass. Yeah, did the first ever whole tour with a band with one, and
it's weird to
was
think
a
that
white
electric guitars and electric bass weren't invented until like it's not even about 70 years ago now.
Yeah,
Well,
Les
actually,
Paul.
it's 1920. Yes, no, it's almost yeah, because
The
they
Les
had those
Paul,
old.
isn't it?
No, yeah, Les Paul made the first one, but
Yeah.
they used to have those old, like it would be like a rectangle, like box guitar,
Yeah.
like those old Sega box. They make it with Sega box.
radio pickups,
Sega
isn't
boxes,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to make that probably in the 1920s or 30s. So it's almost only like 100 years ago since we've had the electric guitar or the electric bass. It's crazy to think of.
And it all comes from miking up acoustics, isn't it? When you just mic up an acoustic, you just place a microphone recording device underneath it, and then you just take the raw chip out of
basically, yeah,
one of these and place it directly in that with the wiring.
Yeah, but I think
connected to
Les
it.
Paul was the one who
Yeah,
refined
he
it.
was. Yeah, have
Who
you
refined
seen
it.
him play like
It's
in his
crazy,
garden? With
isn't
his,
it?
he's
Yeah.
fucking amazing. He's so
Yeah.
good. He's insane.
Yeah, he's pure 50s, 40s jazz, isn't he? What's that song?
He does some.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Dum bum bum bum.
That's
Maybe
it.
in the sweetest that I'd ever seen. Give him two lips like roses and pearls.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Oh, dude, I think it's the Andrew. I love the Andrew sisters. I'm a big Andrews sisters
Andrews sisters.
fan. Yeah, they used to do one with Bing Crosby. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze and listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Oh, a great piece of music. And they the Andrew sisters did loads of stuff, but they did a version of Sandman though. Yeah, and because they were all a cappella, but recorded, and they
it's
were
a
like
lot of big bands though, big band music, isn't it?
Dude, don't get me on big bands. Oh my god, where do I begin? Fucking love big band music, dude.
Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, well, yeah, Louis. Fucking. Oh god, you've like exploded my brain. I've got like too much that's going out on too many fronts now. Big band. What's my absolute baby? I'd probably say I love the I love people like Count Basie. Count Basie is amazing, and then oh god, who are the
I think modern jazz is a lot more accessible and a lot more experimental than old jazz.
They went down bopping. I think they've got a lot more bop style nowadays.
I think you need to know some modern jazz bands. That's what you're missing out on.
Oh, well, educate me. What am I? Because I do follow some.
Yeah, but you've never heard of. Oh my god, man! I'm gonna have to look it up. All right,
get the phone. This is the first time
sorry, guys.
What? I can't remember who this is.
Who was it? Oh, who was
I'm just thinking of people like I mean, you get people like Buddy Rich, which kind of came out the big band scene. Oh, Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington's one of the big. Yeah, he's one of the big. Yeah, he's one of the like. Well, he's late big band, but he still is big band. He's fantastic. And then I love people as well that kind of like came out of playing in big bands, but weren't actually, but are famous individually. So people like Fat Swallow. Fat Swallow is amazing for that. Well, look at here. Lulu's back in town.
I can't find them. Yeah, some of them are incredible when you think about it because of the times that the musicians lived in. Like how like how did they get the time to practice all of that? Because you know it's sweeping techniques, it's runs, and they're really fast. Like it's like they spent hours on that.
It's hard work meets talent. I think it's hard work meets talent. It's when you've got the ability
How much
to.
time is it?
We're on 44 minutes right now.
Can I have a fact?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Go, fuck it, go for it.
Here.
Yeah,
Or-
go on. Yeah.
did you- 'cause you
that's
said-
right.
'cause you said I was-
I'll open the door. I'll open the door.
Yeah, should I just open it?
Yeah. Yeah. Try and close that one on the right on your side.
Okay.
So
You tell me if it bothers you, man. I mean, I want
Benny Goodman.
Benny Goodman.
Benny Goodman, and then
Never heard of him.
what?
No, I never heard of Benny
Oh,
Goodman.
dude, Benny Goodman, clarinet, absolute.
Who was that man that made the
G.
song "Summertime"? Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish
Oh,
are jumping,
oh,
and
I
the
know.
cotton is high.
I know which
Summertime.
Summertime.
That's
And Ella Fitzgerald does a very famous version of it, doesn't she? Yeah, I think
Gershwin.
George
That was his name.
George Gershwin.
Maybe. I don't know if it was George,
Elaine.
but it's definitely Gershwin.
Yeah, because there is a George.
But he wrote
Gershwin.
a lot of classic 50s, 40s, 30s hits.
Dude, I'm trying so hard not to touch my phone right now because I really want to have a look at. Because there's two, like the moment I hear their names, I've got this whole big flood of information of other songs that I've fallen in love with. Because I love my big bands. I love my big band music.
I realized that you were listening to Frank Sinatra in the fridge at work.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's Old Blue Eyes. I love Old Blue Eyes. He's incredible. He is.
Oh, Blue Eyes.
He is insane. When he does oh god, I mean the classics are very good, but I love I mean most of the people from the Rat Pack as well are like Sammy Dean and
Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke wasn't part of
no,
that.
he wasn't part of the Rat Pack, but yeah, Sam Cooke is phenomenal as well, and so's Otis Redding as well. Sitting on a dock of the bay, watching the time roll away. I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay. Oh, that's the problem though with modern day. I mean, it's fantastic because everybody gets paid, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of the fact that we have to work so hard in order to play anything out loud. So, for example, I would love to be able to do a podcast where I have whatever music I want playing in the background, and you can't even. There was
no.
there was a
Because,
time in
you've got
the-
all kinds of companies that are going to
there
chase
was a-
you for that.
there was a time in
And
the
you should be starting
2000s.
to do it too.
Yeah, there was a time in the 2000s where they didn't give a fuck if you
Yeah,
put
that was a
live
long-
music on,
Yeah.
as
No,
long
that
as it
was a
was
long time
live.
ago. What's the company's called again?
I'm not really sure.
I think it's PBS or something like that. Because I remember we studied it in college, and you do
Yeah.
have to pay a lot of money if you want to play one song in public. They're going to chase you. Not necessarily your place, but for example, if you play it on the radio, those people it's the radio station that they're going to chase. But if you're playing it if it's the radio you put it on, you won't have to pay.
Yeah.
But if obviously they'll chase after the radio itself, the radio station itself.
It's really cool because I met somebody who has music or owns the rights to music, and he was showing me his timesheet, if you will, of like how he gets paid.
Yeah.
And he has like this really cool timesheet, and it's like in pennies for the time. So he has
Really?
he has like a list of the songs,
Yeah.
and it's a list of, and it goes down at a big chart, and it says like you own these songs, and this
Yeah.
song has been played for this amount of time
Yeah.
on this network, and this amount of time
Yeah,
on this network.
they pay
And
you.
then and then they
Yeah.
have the monetary
They
amount.
pay you by the penny.
Yeah,
by the
dude.
pennies. But the more, obviously, the more plays you get, the more money you get.
He's got like 170 quid off of one big sign-in sheet for the end of like
Exactly.
6 months or something like
Mm.
that. And imagine if you're somebody like Post Malone, or you're
Exactly,
somebody
yeah,
like,
that's
and you
how
just
I was.
you destroy off of one evening of playing at a festival. Imagine how many people are
Yeah.
on Spotify. I was thinking about this because I'm going Pink Pop this year.
Yeah.
Imagine how many people at that festival just alone, and this is isolated net worth, are
I
going to be
typed-
sitting with little individual sound systems like me on
And-
their phones
yeah.
playing it off.
And what's crazy about it is that people don't sell physical records anymore.
No.
So all the money that they're getting is
Streaming
usually
services.
from streaming services and from radio play.
Mm.
So I looked up Rihanna's net worth not so long ago. I was just curious about how much she was worth. She's worth 600 million.
Yeah.
She's the richest
Easily.
female pop star in the world.
She's
And bear in mind,
destroying.
she's what, in her early 30s?
Yeah.
So can you imagine the reach that she has?
Yeah.
She's not even selling any physical albums or anything like that. It's mostly just streaming, and
Mhm.
she's worth $600 million.
She's destroying it, dude. Absolutely, and quite really so. I can't imagine. I mean, I remember
So my
hearing.
point is, when people are saying that music is dead, you know how a lot of elitists are saying that music is dead. It's not, man. People are listening to a lot more music these days than they were in the past. Mostly because we can reach it. But I don't think that it's dead at all, man. I think there's a lot of great talents that are coming out.
I think it's because the things that people love have been written. So they look at it and they go, right, well, I love this, and I love I love Count Basie, and I love so I'm listening to a cover of A Hard Day's Night. You think, right, well, a cover of A Hard Day's Night is my favorite piece of music that I've ever heard ever. So then they eventually go like, what's the point in me listening to it? I was listening to my grandmother talk about this the other day, and she was saying about, because she loves Frank Sinatra, and she's saying there's nobody nowadays like that. There's nobody nowadays, and it's because it's been written. So you have to realize the flavor of motion of where it's the. But I mean, going back to mathematics, it's the flavor of things.
And effect.
Absolutely,
Because
moving forward.
Those times are gone, but that doesn't mean that they're not there anymore. They're inside of the influence. Yeah. It's like, I mean, probably prehistoric people started with rocks, probably banging on rocks and making chants.
They didn't have Frank Sinatra. They didn't have Slash. They didn't have fucking Jimi Hendrix. They didn't have any of that.
They had Stone Man.
Yeah, they must have gone like boom, 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 boom. Imagine like the first person that had done that without Queen even doing it. Yeah, but obviously Queen were 100% not the people to do that first time frame. There must have been some caveman in some cave. Like, I hate it. I tell you what I hate. I hate it when people say, "Oh, this is the first time that's ever been done ever." Fuck off!
No, if you can
like, really, think about how crazy, wackadoodle, intelligent, and fantastically daring and ballsy human beings are. That has been done, or a variation of it has been done in the past. These people have been. We are all I think it was either Carl Sagan or it was. I'm pretty sure it's Carl Sagan. Well, he was one of the people, and he said that we were all standing on the no, it was on the shoulders of giants. We're all standing on the shoulders of giants, and it's like one big never-ending step ladder to the moon, and we're all.
And not to go back to Carl Jung again. I'm sorry.
Please bring it back, baby.
How, the theory of archetypes.
Archetypal personalities.
Yeah, the archetype, right,
yes.
But not only that, but Plato was saying that there was a world in which there was a perfect form. Oh, sorry.
No. Bring it to you. Bring it to you. It's your bitch. Bring it to you. Bring it to you.
So Plato was saying that it was a world of perfect form. So, for example, what he was saying is that the world that we see, in our world, we have such a thing as a dog, and everybody's thinking of a different dog. But in another world, there could be the archetypal dog, the dog of all things, the dog of the dogs, the one dog we just can't imagine, but that's there. And that's probably the giants he's talking about. But what I'm saying is that the meaning of angels and demons and stuff like that, that's probably what they were referring to in the past, of some kind of archetypes that are there inside of our own imaginations.
Yes.
So when Carl Sagan is saying that we stand on the shoulders of giants, and I know that he wasn't a believer or anything like that, but I would like to think of myself as a believer. I like to think of myself as not necessarily religious, but somewhere along the
spiritual.
lines.
Like
I've got faith.
Yeah.
In something other than this world. I think there's another world beyond this one that we can't explain. But
I believe in the multiverse.
Yeah, I believe in that as well. Yeah. But let's not pull off track. But what I'm saying is that when Carl Sagan was saying that we stand on the shoulders of giants, is that there's something again in our subconscious that drives us to bring out that thing. Through our influences and through the path that we were talking about earlier on.
Yes.
I think humanity is discovering itself. I think it's working on itself. I think it's coming through to something else that we haven't seen. It's working for the future. Like I said, we're just redeeming ourselves for the future. And I think the world is just starting to discover itself, especially now that we're all interconnected with the internet and everything like that. everything is going just to culminate into one big thing. And I got this friend who said she's a bit of a hippie, she's vegan, everything like that. And she said to me, she said, "What did she say?" She said, "Oh yeah, when everybody hold hands, I like to think that the Earth is going to hatch." And that's a nice picture, don't you think? It's a nice picture, you know, that the Earth is going to hatch, and you know something is going to bloom out of it.
It's very beautifully
Yeah, I
hippie.
mean it's
lovely.
nicely put. I think it's a lovely idea. Obviously, the hippies.
it's nice.
But it's
though.
nice. But it's
It
nice
is
to think about.
nice.
I think it's a great picture to keep inside your mind.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like it's taken us this long to get this many people alive in existence, so
It's
that
taken us this
we're
long
able to
to-
hold hands around the planet and
Yeah,
then give
yeah.
birth. Yeah, and then but it's whether or not I don't want to take us down this pathway because
Go on, take it.
you know exactly where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, go on.
Is
Yeah, go
the
on.
human beings are the sex organs of the machine world.
Yeah,
We go
yeah.
into do androids dream of electric sheep and
Yeah.
Blade Runner, things like that, of whether or not, and then
Yeah,
because we're
there's
looking
a
at people like,
did you hear? You probably know already, but there's the reptilian brain and the prefrontal cortex.
yes,
And apparently, the reptilian brain is basically what's driving us at the bottom, you know, our impulses. So I'm guessing we're still torn between the prefrontal and the reptilian.
absolutely. Well, I think it's Jung talking about this on his 59 documentary interview, and he says that will never be silenced.
No, it won't be.
No matter
Yeah.
how, because it's almost as
natural
if
law.
absolutely, and I think because he speaks about it in exactly the same way, I'm just giving it akin to a relatable image. I mean, for somebody of a more scientific audience, is when you say things like you know what nuclear half-lives are.
Nuclear. No.
Half-lifing is when you have nuclear matter or nuclear material. The nuclear material has a half-life, which means that when you have a decaying nuclear matter, it decays at a certain rate, and it halves. So it goes.
Is that what you were talking to me about?
It
About
goes
the
1,
protons
and then it goes 0.5, and then it goes
You were talking to me about
0.2.5, and then
that
it
at
goes
work, I think.
0.2, 0.3, and then but because it goes half, and imagine an infinity of half,
Oh, right, yeah, I see what you
half
mean, yeah.
recurring, you would never reach absolute zero.
No,
there is
because-
no such thing.
Because
as
there's no
absolute
such thing as
zero.
zero.
No, absolutely. It's like destroying something, which is also the same
Yeah,
reason why there is
right.
infinity. Is
Right.
because you can go on
It's
to
because-
ever.
yeah, yeah.
As long as you're
Which goes
willing
back-
and ready to put one more number on the end, there will
Yeah.
never be an end to existence or
Well,
reality.
that's what eternity is supposed to be.
Yes.
There is no end, and there's not even a beginning.
Yeah, and
It's just a present moment,
absolutely.
which is what you were saying.
Yeah.
That you're a big fan of the present moment.
Yeah, and the
And I think that's key-
multiverse,
that's
the
key to-
culmination, and
To all things, really. To live in the
even
present
at
moment.
the end of supposedly human existence, there will be something. There will be something.
Yeah, well,
and there
it's
was
like-
something before nothing.
It's
as
like
well.
when you imagine nothingness.
Hmm.
Straight away, when you say nothingness, I can tell that there's already something because you've already given it a name. So nothingness is already something. It's not because it's empty that it's nothing. It's still emptiness. So it's
Yeah.
still something. Either that, or because us as humans can't comprehend, can't concept something that's not.
It's
nothing.
Yeah, it's like creating. There's almost nothing. There's no
You
such thing as
can't- you
creating.
can't.
Yes, there's no such
You
thing as
can't.
creating. There's just reorganizing. You're just reorganizing matter
Right.
from one thing into another thing and formulating and
Yeah, that's it.
squashing. And oh, no. I really need to go for a piss. I'm afraid.
Oh, I'm
Would you
sorry,
mind? I tell you what. Go on to one of your favorite Jungian prospects, if you will, just until I come back.
Oh, well, you mean to just talk?
Wax lyrical, baby.
I can't just talk to someone. I don't know, man. They'll probably just watch me smoke.
no. Just yeah, absolutely.
Don't worry, I'll handle it.
Pontificate.
Okay, pontificate. I don't know what to pontificate about. Will has gone for a wee. He's gone to the toilet. Here I am, sitting, drinking a glass of wine. If YouTube had a service so that I could see all your comments, but it doesn't. So, and you're still the same person watching. Yep. Still that same old person that Will was talking about. So I'm guessing I'll be pontificating to you, preaching to you about how and why you should do something with your life. Because if you don't do anything with your life, you're not gonna get very far. There's someone in the kitchen. It's this guy. And he's going somewhere. He's got a bag. He's going on a journey. So maybe you should do the same. And I should do the same too. Go on a journey. Go on an adventure like Bilbo the Hobbit. Oh, Will's coming back. Is Will coming back? Yeah, there he is. I tried pontificating.
Yes.
I'm encouraging you, one man, to go on a journey.
Oh, excuse me, I just broke wind then horribly. I might gust. Thank fuck the door is open. Woo! Right. How are you, my dear man?
I'm okay. I'm
very
almost
well?
done.
You look
I'm
well?
almost done.
We are 10 seconds right now away from hitting an hour.
Seriously?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Would you like to indulge in another bottle? Should we get another?
I'm not done. I'm not done with this one yet.
Okay.
Do you know what? I'm gonna go for a wee.
I'm gonna nick a bit of yours.
Yeah.
Because you've drunk most of that, so
I'm gonna go for a wee though. I don't need a wee as well.
Absolutely. Please do. I'll continue to discuss. Am I alright closing this now?
Yeah.
Finish off. Whoa, that's close.
It's actually pretty comfortable. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, do a second. Well, we're still live right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're just not having a stoppage to anything. Don't worry. We're merely having a minor break in our wonderful discussion. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. We have one live guest right now, but the live guest is whoever you are. Absolute love. Thank you. You're getting the gist of the vibe. The thing is that about existence and everything that we are is, for me, in terms of the number theorem that I was talking about earlier, and the cause and effect of it all, and the moving forwards, it's the beat pattern. It's the beat pattern of your very heart that is going from that wonderful feeling that you know that you are alive right now. You are in existence. You are breathing. You are taking in 70% nitrogen and oxygen and carbon dioxide into your and carbon into your bloodstream, and and then processing that into hemoglobin and using the perfect biconcave shape of the blood cell in order to take it around the body and deposit that into the necessary places, and have that then extrapolated by the various zones that it is required, or every zone that it is required in, including your brain, which is running this incredibly delicate ecosystem of a body that you have at your disposal that we take for granted every single day of our lives. And it enables you to eat, breathe, talk, and then on top of that and think, and you're able to form new relationships and break boundaries between people. And then not only that, but you're able to disagree and fight and fuck and take stupid substances and imbibe things, and then decide not to go, I'm not going to take in the substances, I'm going to be clean for this period of time, or I'm going to see how long I can be clean for, or I'm never going to be filthy again. And even though you're hypocritical because you still have a coffee, which is technically a caffeine drug or whatever, it's the beautiful eclecticism, if that's even a word, the beautiful eclectic existence that we eclecticism. I don't know, I've just invented a new word. Eclectic. Eclectic. I
thought you were saying eclectic.
Oh no! Oh, eclectic.
Eclectic.
Yeah,
that's the word.
Yeah. Eclectic definitely is. I was saying eclecticism.
Yeah.
The eclecticism.
You were close.
No. Because I've gone eclectic and then eclectic. Yeah, it is the eclectic nature of being.
Very true. Good point.
Yeah, or simply saying
eclectic
how
nature of
amazing
being.
everything is of us taking oxygen in the fact that every breath, every heartbeat is you taking
And
a breath in, and then you turn it into hemoglobin through the spongy cells of it, so spongy into the bronchioles and the aorta, and then
what's crazy about it is that it's made up of multiple of atoms.
yeah. And then
And
that's all made up of
bacteria.
atoms, and then it's
Yeah.
taken us that long. And the
And
fact
soon you'll just collapse like a castle made of sand.
yeah,
You're going to die.
and it happens to everybody.
Yeah,
every single person.
I think we should
Nobody's
just
safe.
celebrate it.
Yeah, exactly. And you celebrate it via the beauty of self-destruction, wine, and
Wine.
we give celebration to it because it also gives us things as well. It
Why
gives
was
us
wine considered the
relaxation.
most celebrated? Like, if you think about it, in ancient Rome, wine was considered the most.
Ah, yes.
It was a party drink of the days.
Yeah, it's and they'd go one step
It
further.
still is, and it's, I don't know. People said it's quite a sensual drink.
I adore. I'm a big party enthusiast. I love a good party. I love a good.
Yeah, I remember you being drunk in that place.
The amount of times people have said the exact words. I remember you being drunk in that place.
What
Oh
was it
yeah.
again? G&D, George and Dragons.
Oh god.
Yeah,
With the work lot.
Yeah.
Oh dude, I love Adam. I love Adam. Adam's one of my favorite human beings. Adam's just
he's funny, man.
he's a rare
He's
and
funny and he's chill.
legendary animal. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good man.
He's like a legendary Pokemon. He's one of these people you have to do something crazy and then he becomes aware.
Because
Like,
we did, yeah,
sorry,
we didn't
you're
drink
aware
enough. I feel like we haven't drunk enough of him. I feel like we should do quite
Dude,
a
I
few shots
wanna
of
go-
vodka.
I want to go like out with Adam.
Yeah,
Like,
I
always
think we
wanna
should
go-
bring Alec as well. Because Alec is Ukrainian. You know Alec?
Alec?
You know this guy that's always wearing a beanie hat?
Oh, Alec! Yeah,
Small.
I call him Alex.
Oh yeah, it's Alec. I called him Alex for a long while as well.
Yes.
Until I realized
Is
it's
it Alec?
Yeah, it's Alec.
All right, dude. I used to love the banter that he and Tom's had at work. People that don't know what we're talking about, we work together, and
Is there one person? Is there one person?
sorry, yeah, absolutely. They're always there. I love them. I've already. But when you went to the toilet, I was like,
Thank you.
"Fucking fire, you right there. You are the one. Absolutely. No, none of these other non-believers. I'm just joking. But yeah, like we going back to what I was saying, we work with a lot of eclectic and crazy people that make up the amalgamation of the
To be honest,
the
I think it's
craziness
one of
of
the
what-
nicest places I've ever worked at.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
fairly chill. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're lucky to be there.
Well, that's what I feel, dude, as well. That's why I'm
Yeah.
like nervous the fact that they keep like getting new people. I don't want to talk about work too much, but I mean, I
I'm
completely
grateful
agree.
for being there, honestly. Man.
Absolutely,
Because I know that
I
in
met
any,
you. I met you.
I know
there.
in any other place I'd be bossed around. I wouldn't be allowed to be, as chilled as I am now.
Especially if you go for a lot of interviews. If you've been for a lot of interviews and you meet the people that interview you are going to be your boss,
Yeah.
and you're like, I don't want to work for you.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that you're
gonna be annoying.
you're trying
man.
to
You're gonna
climb.
boss me
You're
around.
trying to climb
Yeah,
this
you're gonna
fucking
try.
ladder that you're
Yeah.
on right now, and
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
about that. I don't.
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I was gonna say something, but I think I should probably keep it to myself.
If it's professional courtesy,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's
Yeah, because
professional
it's the
courtesy at the
internet.
moment,
You never know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Like yeah. But yeah, we work with a lot of incredible and sick people. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not saying that to
Yeah.
help my job out. If anybody that works at where we work is watching this, I'm not bullshitting. I'm saying that like everybody new and old, for me personally, my experience at where we work is I fucking love it. I wouldn't. It's where we work is perfect for all my needs in life right now. It's
Yeah.
afforded me this wonderful place that I live in. We kill ourselves when we're there. Your job's. I couldn't do your job.
Seriously, man, it's pretty.
Yeah, but you're always working at your job. Like even when you're like kind of not. I wouldn't say like because you don't chill like either at your job. You're also just taking time out of that moment for a second to have a chat with like me on the floor. Like you're still like hustling your work. You're still like
Yeah, I
kind of
mean
keeping
the
an eye.
work is done, but
That's so cool.
I
Though.
feel
That's
like,
I respect that so much.
I'm
though.
allowed. I feel like I'm allowed to do whatever I want as long as the job is done.
You're the people that keep
So-
you're like part of the group of people that keep the lights on. You keep the place like it's
You started making me blush at the beginning.
Craziest
of this
level,
thing.
you-
You're gonna start making me blush again.
like I
Hey,
respect
can you
that
open
so
this,
much.
man? Do you want me to do it? Oh, you done it.
Ah, just done, man. Ah, I've got that cork up though, baby. Hopefully I haven't. We're all good. It's fine.
Okay,
Let
I'm
it
done.
breathe a little bit. Let it breathe. 'Cause,
Yeah, let it breathe. Chianti.
I love Chianti. It's my favorite wine.
So we've had half a bottle of wine each.
Yes. I was gonna say, dude, you're more than welcome to stay. Like, what time is it? Yeah. Just so I've got a. Oh shit!
Oh,
Sweet, it's earlier than I
well,
thought,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
We've got like
Cool.
I've got an hour and a half
Nice.
until I actually have to do anything for.
Nice.
So, oh,
Cool.
oh, salute. Well, again, like, and I'm gonna give you this a few more times before you leave, though. Thank you ever so much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Seriously, you are.
No, I'm
You're a
happy
pleasure
do
to be
this.
around, and
I'm
you're
happy to do this. Yes, I am happy to do this.
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying this. As long as I forget about the camera, then I'm guessing it's fine.
Oh, that's the thing, though, is that the moment you find a line of conversation, I think it's a
I
trail
think
of
that's what
conversation.
it is. I think you need to focus on something. I think the beginning of things are always awkward, and then you get used to it,
It's
and then you start following the line.
the first 20 to 25 minutes with every person, or
Yeah, I'm not the only one.
is everybody.
Okay.
Everybody, it's the same thing. Dude, me, my first I was like, I don't know what to talk
Oh,
about.
shit,
I'm just
yeah.
gonna keep. And the key is to just kind of keep talking, and you realize
Yeah.
that's and then
Well,
then
it's back again.
it's a
that same old
combination.
thing we were
Yeah,
saying.
it's a
back to-
combination of that, and then
back to the
exactly, and
moment.
then you go right.
Maybe
okay,
the moment really is the key to all
yeah,
things.
I've always wanted to talk about this. And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily the fact that I want to talk about it on camera. It's not the fact I want to talk about it in front of people, but
Yeah.
I think that talking about this thing is
Oh,
cool.
should we talk about something? Should we talk about let's talk about something. Let's talk about sociology.
Sociology?
Yeah. just
Okay, yeah.
Communism and capitalism. You know how there was. Let's start with the. You
I was
probably heard
watching
about them.
Cuba.
SJWs, social justice
Just warriors. Fuck it,
Yeah.
if you want, dude.
What
Absolutely.
do you think?
What in terms of just in
What do you
general?
think of them generally? What do you think of? I don't know. What they come across as? What impression do they give you?
Social justice warriors? I think their heart's in the right place.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think
I think that they do it for the right reasons. I mean, as everybody does anything for the right reasons. I know I'm generalizing horrifically there, but and I have to give people respect for that, because what they're doing is they're going into a group of people and they're speaking out, and they're trying to rally. They're trying to rally people's support and people around them. But at the same time as well, they're also doing it for what they're doing is there's a large amount of hypocrisy in what they do as well, because what they do it around is they do it for anti-pigeonholing. And what they're actually doing, pigeonholing is when you create categories. So when people go like, "Oh my god, you're in this group, so you do this."
Yeah.
So they're complaining at people. They're complaining at people for being presumptive about people, and then they're also simultaneously
they're creating categories.
but they're also simultaneously creating categories for people to go under at the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a lot. I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to kind of like political things as well.
Yeah,
but
I think most
I'm
of them are teenagers as well. And not very grown up.
you're young and you're young and you're bright and you're crazy and you're dedicated and you care, and people should care. People need to care, and they should care, and they it's had enough time now. People should care, and they need to care, and they need to speak their mind, and they need to try and rally friendships and have goals and ideas and loves and blah 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 and all the rest of it. But you, at the same time, you need to learn how to be, as we were talking about earlier, the wise man in the village. Sometimes you need to be able to learn to pull it back, and you need to be able to learn and sit and listen and to think where you might be wrong. And as Mark Twain once said,
Mark 21.
Mark Twain.
Oh,
Mark Twain once said that the worst thing is believing in something so much, and is not just believing something, but thinking something is true and believing in it and going to the nth degree with it, and it's not.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I know what
But it
is.
turns out to be the person you were fighting against.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. They turn into that, and I'm not saying that I know what is and what isn't. I'm not saying that at all, and I really don't believe that I know what is and what isn't, because I'm 25. What the fuck do I know? I don't even know what I know. Then I don't know. Like, you know, like all I'm trying to get forward is that you need to be, to quote two of my favorite people in human existence as simultaneously as Shakespeare and Richard Feynman. Shakespeare, first off, we'll go backwards. Feynman said, "I am smart enough to know how stupid I am." And Shakespeare said, "The measure of a person is that oh no, every wise man thinks himself a fool, and every fool every fool thinks himself a wise man, and every wise man knows himself a fool."
Yeah.
And I try and live up to that, because and sometimes it's shutting up even when people are wrong, even when you want to say something. Is that sometimes you need to, there's a weird thing to life when you realize that the complicated craziness of everything is that you need to shut up and let the incorrect cogs turn, because they'll be wrong in the end, and they'll learn how wrong they are, and
The
you need
more
to
you grow up, the more you realize how complicated things are. And while you're young, while you're protesting against old age and the people that govern you, you don't realize.
people in economics are one of the things.
I mean, yeah, but as you age, you start to realize certain things. You start to realize that certain things are supposed to work that way. So when you're young, you start thinking, you think that you can change things, that you can progress and change the world,
And you need
and
that.
you do, and you do. You need that. Yeah, you need that. Yeah, but no, I think, man, you start to realize as you grow older, man, that you can't. That some things will always be the same.
Yeah, it's very strange. Life is a really weird and multi-headed organism. It's and you'll
Well, it's
never.
like going back to the reptilian brain.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to change the reptilian brain, and I think that what I'm saying is that tradition is always going to be the thing that progress is built upon. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely.
And if progress should ever fall apart, then it's tradition that we're going to
that you fall back on, absolutely, yeah. Who's that person? Oh god, it might be Mark Twain again. I'm all for progress. It's change I can't stand.
Did he write Leaves of Grass?
No,
it's not Mark Twain, is it?
I don't know. I know more of his. I know more of
It's not Mark Twain.
Mark Twain wrote.
Is it?
I'm going to shut up because my brain.
He wrote Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, he wrote Leaves of Grass then.
Well, I know more of his sayings than I do of his
Yeah,
literature.
I'm like that with some
and his
people as well.
his sayings probably
I like
do come from
Marcus Aurelius.
Oh god, I love Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Marcus Aurelius. Oh, he's such a boss.
He said, "Our thoughts are colored by our souls are tainted by the color of our thoughts." I think that's a very nice line. Our souls are tainted by the color of our thoughts.
Listeners, please bask in that line of how good.
And he's the one who said, "Live as though you were to die tomorrow," or something like that.
And that he was the first person that we're aware of in human literature to actually voice, but silence his own words, that the Earth went round the sun.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. That we're aware of. He's one of the first people to have writings of that, and his scrolls, some of them were hidden in some of the great libraries of that era as well that no longer stand, and there were the information filtered through. Oh, he's so good. Oh, I love Marcus Aurelius.
Commodus who ruined everything.
I need to read up on a. I know I need to read up on a lot more of this. My brother's lent me a wonderful magazine which has a yeah, Chianti.
Very fruity.
Yeah, Chianti, mate. It has a lot more flavor and spice. And dude, it's Italy.
Yeah, this is like this times 3.
Yeah, dude. Italians, mate. They sit there and they just fucking get it in the bottle. They just get it in the bottle, mate. I love that. They just sit and like there's a lot more complexity within it, and it challenges your palate a lot more. But it doesn't do it at
it does challenge your palate.
Yeah, but it doesn't do it at the risk of making you hate the bottle. You don't go, oh god, I wish I didn't buy this. That's the thing about Chianti is you can sit and you can drink the rest of it, and you go, that was different, but I enjoyed it, and I that's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my
honestly,
favorite,
I feel like it's Blossom Hill times 4 times 3.
that's where I like standing in art in general.
Standing in art.
Yeah, is when so for example, Liechtenstein is a little bit like that, where he's so different, but yet there's a lot going. But yeah, I mean, Liechtenstein, you can argue I think cancelling what I've just said, that I think Hieronymus Bosch is probably one of the best people for that, because he's got so much going on. You drown in detail.
I think the Garden of Earthly Delights is probably one of the greatest paintings that was ever made.
Yeah,
I think it represents exactly what it's supposed to mean: some kind of debauchery, some kind of elegant debauchery, decadence, humanity, despair, but all with some kind of colorful, hopeful. I don't know how to explain it, but you get my drift, right?
Absolutely.
Because there's something that's
light-hearted disarmament about it.
a
There's
light-hearted
charm almost.
Charm, yeah.
There's stupidity. There is whimsy and
the absurdity.
Yeah, beautiful words. Yeah, absolutely. Like absurdity is the word. Yeah, there's a certain
the absurdity of it all, and
you could just as easily assume everything, the whole of human existence, and then go, oh, this is wacky and stupid.
Yeah,
it's pointless and bullshit.
Very good point. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
but then that's absurdity, though. What you said. That's your point. Like,
but I mean, it's so well done. I mean, because it's all of your. The Garden of Earthly Delights, it's all of your desires, it's everything that you want in one painting.
Yeah.
And it's so absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so ridiculous, and it's so attractive as well. Like, it's very well done, so well done. But that's
philosophy. Caravaggio for me is that as well. He is religion, like, for me. Sorry, it's just as taking a tributary of what you've just said. Is Caravaggio takes that and puts it into religion, and he takes this wonderful idea of madness and over the top, the most brutal parts of human existence. Of he's able to take the idea of not just the slitting of the throat and the cutting of the wrists and the absolute despair of self-depression and all that horrible, not just narcissism but infliction upon others. But he also takes the greatest celebration of the most joyous just depravity and goes like, you want a good time, bang, and puts that's a good time, and you're like, wow. That's
I mean, there's so much to say about what those paintings can do to you. I mean, because it's the whole representation of what goes on inside of you, inside of your mind, inside of your desires, inside of, I mean, everything. When you look at society, the way people are going to clubs, people are going to strip clubs, people are going to get laid, people are going to, I don't know, man. What the fuck do people do?
You go out with the intention of finding some different form of debauchery, of sin, vice,
excitement,
and
of something.
Excitement,
sin. That's what you're looking for.
Different.
That's what you're looking for. Temptation, sin,
breaking the 9 to 5.
Pleasure.
I want to go and find out where all these people, or just meeting the crazy people that do it.
Yeah. Someone to take you along, someone to show you that it's not, because your curiosity is awakened by that, because you want to know. And I think that's in everybody. I think sin is part of our nature. I think it's a shadow that we have to discover. I think it's a dark.
And you pay the ferryman. You want a coin for him. And there you go. You pay the psychopomp to take you across.
Go on.
And the single skeletal finger that beckons you into self-destruction.
You've been called to something, and I think that's something that everybody has to discover. It's something that you have to go and meet the devil. You have to go and meet Satan. You have to.
Everybody.
Everybody has. Right, because if you want to be angelic, if you want to be a saint, it's only one part of God. God, as in like his absolute, like beyond duality, because he's supposed to be the one thing, that represents all of evil and all of good at the same time. In the Bible, in Isaiah, it says, "I, God, make the evil of the world. I make the good as well. I am the one who makes."
Which part does that?
It's in Isaiah. I can't remember the quote exactly, but
you don't have
but it's where God says, "I make all of the evil. I make all the good." Because God is supposed to be the one thing beyond our perception of good and evil.
Yes.
Beyond our conception
he even
of
made
duality.
evil. Yes.
Yeah. He made evil. He is the evil. I mean, you don't have to worship him. You don't have to But at the same time, and personally, I'm grateful that I'm
I went
grateful
to
be
Catholic
alive.
school as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right on, bro.
I'm just grateful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you have to go and meet the devil. You have to go and meet every aspect of this life, every aspect of your world, every aspect. Just go and meet everything, man. Just go and do it.
yeah, that because absolutely that was me in school. I want to see it all. I
Yeah,
want to do it all.
go and see it all. I want to
do
know everything. I want to hear everything.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to see everything. I want
I
to
want to
know.
live my life. I want to get to the. I want to be able to get to the end of it all, and somebody go so, and somebody some little small wonderful hand reach out and go. So what was it like? And you go, it's amazing.
That's good.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah,
it's one hell of a ride.
Mm.
It's good, bad. It's everything you want it to be. Everything you think it
Even
is.
when
Everything
you-
you don't want it to be.
I mean, I don't know if you get depressed from time to time. You
Oh,
probably do.
no, I have.
Yeah,
I have bad thoughts.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I got my bad bouts too.
Absolutely.
That's, but sometimes, man, even when I'm depressed, I start to feel like even that's a blessing.
Yeah.
That I'm depressed, man.
Absolutely.
It goes back to that tragic, fatalistic mindset that I talked to you about earlier on.
Do you ever get that when you look for it? Do you ever look for the real bad though as well? Like when you look for the, I think that's what the band Nirvana. I think that's what they bring to the table of music. Personally,
What do you mean?
I think that they
Can I have another one of those? Is that right, or is that too much? You tell me if it's too much. You tell me.
1 second. Let me just check something quickly before we go on to this. Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just left one. Oh, I locked. Go and visit the Garden of Earthly Delights.
Yeah.
I'm already in there. Oh God, I'm gonna have to go for another week.
So I think that's the one main thing that's gonna bother you about doing podcasts with me is that I smoke like an animal.
I used to anymore. I used to smoke back in the day. I love smoking as well.
Yeah, I love
absolutely
it.
fucking. I love the whole. I love the history of it. I love the idea of it. I love
history of it. Back to the American Indians.
Yeah, I love the whole. Like, I'll do the Egyptians used to smoke. Ancient Egyptians used to smoke. Yeah. Yeah, the Egyptians used to have tobacco leaves as well.
Did you know that apparently the ancient Egyptians had relationships with the South Americans?
Yes, absolutely. The boats. It's where we supposedly
found, yeah.
Well, there was they found watermarks on the Sphinx recently. Well, no, they didn't find them recently. You'll know what I mean. I'm speaking. What is it called when it's the study of human life?
Anthropology.
There's a recent anthropological study which came out, which stated that there was they have dated further some of the watermarks on the side of the Sphinx, which would give credence to maybe putting almost another 10, maybe 20,000 years upon human existence.
Seriously?
In terms of civilization, not our existence on the earth in terms of our evolution of the very earliest ancestors of us, but maybe
us as
society and society
okay.
And cities in general, that maybe that we actually have a longer existence.
Do you think that Atlantis ever existed?
The what?
Atlantis.
Oh, no, absolutely. Oh,
seriously?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No. I personally believe, of
Do you
course,
believe that it was a civilization that was greater than all of our civilizations?
No,
nowhere
near as like that. No.
Really?
No. I don't think it was anywhere. I don't think it's got shit on Tokyo nowadays. I think Tokyo shits on that, like on anything like that. Dude, no. I mean, in terms of its like of height of buildings and human population and the advancements of society, everything like that, just the whole coalition of consolidation of human ideas and everything. We're definitely far further advanced and better off nowadays than we were back then. But I 100% believe, though, that there was a. I'll tell you what. I'll leave it up to 99.99999.
Sorry, that'd be.
That's all right. I thought a bird had come in then for a second. I 100% believe that there's 99.999% recurring believe that there is a city, maybe not called Atlantis or something close to that, maybe with a different pronunciation, which is now underwater because there's too many scientific things that are. So, for example, I think that the rarest and weirdest natural geomorphological formations on Earth are that of the natural occurrence are things like the Giant's Causeway, when you have things like basalt cracking and it creates these beautiful little honeycomb patterns. You've seen the Giant's Causeway?
No.
Oh, it's beautiful. Everybody have a look at the Giant's Causeway, and it's a natural rock formation, which occurs next to the seaside when you have basalt, which is this black, almost obsidian colored stone, which forms as a result of oh god, I think it's water. It's the release of small pockets of air. And things like that, but then I couldn't extrapolate that to the size of the huge patterns which are underneath certain parts of the ocean and in other parts of the world, which do form up these large pyramids sort of looking objects. And I'm also
There's some pyramids under the sea.
Yeah, that's where I think
Crystal
Atlantis was.
pyramids,
Yeah. Well, and you have things like but that's where I believe Atlantis has come from. So there we go. That's a natural rock formation.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. What was I saying? But yeah, I don't think you get anything that size naturally formated. Not with. I live near Dartmoor. I've seen the crazy, which is mostly radioactive granite rock. It's crazy out there, but it's at the same time there's nothing within the craziness of what somebody would extrapolate using something like biological mathematics into natural rock formation that would give credence to that something so huge and square could be formed without human existence. And plus, you have things like Pangaea and whatnot, and large ice bridges and places that used to be. There's an entire city there's one of the oldest cities in the world, which is dated, which is the one which is in the middle of the desert somewhere. I can't remember where it's called. It's some Ibias or
I don't know. There's some cities that have been found next to India.
There's one in the
buried
sand.
under the sea.
There's a city in the sand, and it's really cool. I've always wanted to go there. I'm not quite too sure where it is, but then you get but then there's things like Petra in Jordan and whatnot, and Thebes in Egypt.
Isn't that called Luxor now?
I have no idea.
It's Luxor now. Thebes is Luxor.
I have no idea. I don't know. I'm just waxing lyrical on this, but in terms of ancient civilizations, though, we had once greater civilizations than many other places that may exist now, but we also have things nowadays, though, that dwarf anything that we could have believed in the past. We've seen the size of London today, when it is the joining together of multiple cities. When you get multiple boroughs, which are there are housing projects that connect all the way from places like probably what's it called?
Probably equivalent for London.
God, brain today. I only got about
I don't know
4 hours sleep last night. Where they play rugby. Well, anyway, London's bigger than it looks nowadays. It's coming together a lot of boroughs.
Definitely.
Now. One of my friends lives.
Cities, you think about New York and you think of Queens, Bronx, Manhattan,
and you go across the bridge and there's another city on the other side.
City,
yeah. So
you don't really know where you come from.
You seen the animated movie Akira or Akira?
No.
Oh, you should watch it. It's really good. Anime. It's fantastic.
I've seen Death Note.
Oh, Death Note.
Yeah, I like Death Note.
Oh, Death
Yeah,
Note.
it's
I haven't
really
finished
well.
watching it yet, so don't tell me what happens right if because
Not saying anything. Not saying anything.
cool because I'm still
Yeah,
about
but-
I'm two-thirds of the way
Yeah,
through,
I'm
but
not
it's
saying anything.
every episode
It's
is a
one of those detective, like it should have been a detective series.
every
movies.
episode is like
It's
getting a
so
shot of
good.
coke
Yeah.
directly into your
Mm.
brain. It's one of the most adrenaline
Yeah,
fueled
it's intense,
series.
isn't it?
It's so intense. Have you seen Tokyo Ghoul?
No,
Oh, that's really you'd like
I'm
that.
not-
If you
I'm
if
not-
you like that, you'd love.
I'm not really into anime.
Neither am I. But I have connections with people that sit and watch these crazy fucking things all day. And I've got a mate who's
I don't know. I'm not really into animes that much. I love Death Note though.
you. If
Death
you
Note.
like that, you love Tokyo Ghoul, and especially Akira is like that. Have you seen Spirited Away?
Spirited Away.
That's for me the be all end all. That's the one.
Wait,
where,
what is that again?
oh, you
I don't
know
know
the
that.
people that make it's called like the Magic Castle or something. They're the people that make
Spirited Away.
so
Sorry,
the
I've
people
just
that make My Neighbor Totoro.
I have to answer to this test.
That's quite alright. Have you heard of My Neighbor Totoro?
Totoro.
Yeah, My Neighbor Totoro.
Is he a big man?
It's like the big rabbit thing, and it has
Yeah, I've seen a picture. I've seen a
on its
picture.
chest.
I've seen a picture
Little
of it.
citrons.
I've never checked it out though.
Yeah, well, like the things like that though, like that the same studio that made that though made Spirited Away, and Spirited Away is a classic of anime cinema though.
So yeah,
But
I'm just using the puzzle.
Blossom Hill, dude. Yeah, go for it. I mean, yeah, things like that though. But that in terms of that's why I love art from various corners of the globe, and you get things like Hokusai is another one of my personal favorites as well. Somebody very much brings together these crazy. They I don't know. You almost can't even formulate a sentence around how wonderful pieces of art like that are. If you go and watch some of the if you go and look at some of the really old pieces of Japanese art, Hokusai is a
he's the one that did the wave.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hokusai's wave. He's one of the
Hokusai.
more.
He did another one that was quite
More modern.
pornographic as well.
Oh yeah, there's loads of those.
Can't remember.
But
The
that
one with the octopus.
probably, yeah. But they do things which are all they all come from the. I'm a massive fan of the what's it called? Tibetan. I love Tibetan. Like art. A lot of it, yeah. A lot of them come from that sort of. There's a big art theme around that Asiatic. Far East Asiatic artistry movement, which is very old, really, really old, and a lot of it comes from like these mountainous regions of Tibet, where you get like these ancient monsters raping
like,
and eating people. And
yeah,
they're, like,
you
things
mean
that have been
like,
scrolled on the
Kali?
mountain. Yeah,
Kali,
Kali's the god
Kali.
of death, and
Yeah,
but all of
Kali
it all comes
eating
from.
our sons.
Hindu, yeah, because Hindu has no age, and it's so
Yeah,
old.
apparently
Hindu's
it's not,
almost as old as the sun gods.
Yeah,
it's
apparently
so
it's not even called Hinduism. It's called
Yeah.
for the main religion, it's supposed to be called Sanatana Dharma.
it's what has so many gods.
There's
but-
so many gods. It's hundreds.
This is going back to what we were talking about very early on
What?
at the beginning of the podcast, though, which is the unknown, which is human
Oh,
beings, and they are giving light to. Oh, have you finished smoking?
No.
Okay, no, let's take your time. Take your time. Please take your time. Take your time. But this is anyway. Going back to what we were talking about earlier with the unknown,
Are you
and
bored?
it's yeah, a little bit. It's fine. I can just turn the fan here on myself, soon though. And you get the unknown. And you have human beings which are trying to quantify the most nastiest, craziest, weirdest things for
poetic
future
nature,
generations.
That's what I'm talking about.
The Garden of
poetic
Earthly
nature.
Delights is things like this,
Yeah.
and you
Your
have people that
dirtiest
go,
impulses, your dirtiest dreams, your
yeah,
dirtiest shit you hold at the back of your mind.
There's
It
something.
doesn't even have to be.
Have you ever been to Little Hampton?
It doesn't even have to be decadence or anything. It could be murder. It
Have
could be violence. It could be anything like that.
I can't. I've been.
Just everything that you repress is being expressed in paintings, art, all of that.
I've been looking forward to talking about this. Have you ever been to Little Hampton?
Little Hampton, no.
Oh, there's another Amazon fulfillment center down there.
Oh,
Well, Amazon warehouse.
okay.
There is an animal which is spoken of back then. It's an ancient thing because Little Hamilton's a very old place, and it's called the Nook.
Nook.
Yeah, and the Nook is a dragon, and the dragon, there's loads of and it lives in like sort of these big watery trenches that kind of like almost miniature canals that kind of used to run through Littlehampton, or
Yeah.
still do in some small parts. And the Nook used or Nooker, I think it was called, as the dragon, a water dragon almost, and it lived in this big cave. And there's loads of legends that's written about it. And one of them is that they had to. It was one of these supposed great, but just pre-medieval time animals that needed to be slain. And they brought forth towards it this this big wagon with a horse and a cart and a huge pie baked on the back, and a man driving it. And the Nooker ate, and the pie was poisoned, and he ate the horse, the cart, the man driving it, and the pie. And it was weakened by the pie, and all to about a few days later, this great local hero came and slew the Nooker and took its head, and its body was then shared throughout the village and fed the village.
Fed the village.
It fed the village, this Nooker. And if you think about things like that, I want to be wrong, and part of me thinks I probably am.
Let's go on to it.
But I like to think though that maybe some strange, only because of dinosaurs, some
Awesome.
weird form of dragon may have actually existed. Some only because as well, if you look at things like there's the short-faced bear. Have you heard of the short-faced bear? The short-faced bear was a
no.
real animal that existed in parts of North America.
You're so embarrassed about it.
Pardon?
You're embarrassed about admitting that you believe in the existence of dragons.
Oh no. Some types of dragons though, because I genuinely though want to. Lovely, well done. I genuinely believe though that there are some strange deformed next level forms of beast that used to exist that some great crazy human beings may have slain back in the day, that would have eaten lots of other human beings and would have maybe survived it. Because especially if you see
What's
some
so
of
hard
these
to believe
animals.
about that?
Because
you know,
I'm a man of science,
right?
So, and I have no proof. I have no, apart from 8 years of trickled stories of legend, folk tales, and I love combinations of folklore and real science. And I'm very skeptical as well. I only like believing in stuff if it's absolutely real percentage. But I've seen too many depictions of dragons in different cultures and all over the world to believe that they're actually, especially with things like Komodo, the crocodiles. You fucking insane.
No,
And
that's
like,
not a dragon.
no, that crocodiles are saltwater crocodiles, like humongous, these big albino white bulls that live in.
Apparently,
And when you get rare things, have you ever followed catfish? You ever seen a catfish? A huge
I
catfish.
mean, the one with the long mustaches.
Yeah, and they have things like they have things called catfish holes, and they're these massive catfish that live in holes in the middle of nowhere, and they have people that have to go in and grab them and take them out of these holes. And these catfish are so big they can almost swallow like people that about half the size of you and me. So a child, they could eat a child. These catfish. They're fucking huge and horrible.
Catfish aren't carnivores, though, are they?
No, they're omnivores. They'll eat anything. They'll eat absolutely. Omnivores. Omnivorous animals are the worst things to get eaten by because they don't. Because carnivores kill. Carnivores because they live off of other living organisms. They have to kill them, and then it's a piece of piss for them. They just sit there. They'll just take you apart bit by bit. Which is why lions kill it and then they eat it. It's the reason why. Any true carnivore animal will kill something and then it will eat it. Whereas something like a bear, it's so big it will just puts a paw down on you.
Have you seen the
and then
Revenant?
it just rips you. Yes, it puts a paw down you and then it will eat you. It will just start eating bits of you, and it'll see how much of you it can eat before you either run away or you die from pain. And anyway, going back to what I was saying, though, I personally believe though that the dragons are, because there's too much mythology behind these great beasts and great things of the unknown. But then also I do obviously believe in folklore and tale, and humans do love speaking in hyperbole.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay.
people love exaggerating,
bigging things up.
and taking things way out of proportion and whatnot. But I also know as well, I've also seen things in my life that, like, you've seen Blade Runner,
Blade Runner.
the movie. There's
No,
a
I
great
haven't.
speech at
I
the
haven't.
end of that where the guy goes, and the whole speech. The great thing is that it's bullshit in terms of its origins, but it's so well acted and so well written that it makes you
What does
believe
it
it.
say?
And he says, I've seen, the end of this replicant who is he's one of the first machine designed human beings, and he's an assassin. He's a mine worker, sort of, but mercenary unit.
Yeah.
And he goes, I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shores of Orion. Sea beams glittering at the townhouse gate. All these moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. And sea beams glittering at the townhouse gate, and attack ships. None of these things exist. There's no writings of them. It's the only bit in the book it's ever appeared in. Nobody's got any previous literature to go on of where this person who's wrote those lines has come from. It's just in the minds of the people that listen to the speech. And I love that.
Well, just like there won't be writings.
Because nobody is greater than anybody else in the audience at that point. It just allows you to sit there and you go, I'm starting to believe in this, I'm starting to believe that there were sea beams that, like, and you feel sad and tired and sad because this person who witnessed this great insane thing that you couldn't even comprehend is dead.
It's going to die,
and we'll never know.
And you'll never know.
Yeah, so the dragons and things like that. I love the idea of that there might have been.
Well, it's
this huge fire-breathing legendary thing that there was once lots of them, and now there was one, and it was only during the time when we started recording information.
Yeah.
And some great cool hero that, like, going back to Carl Jung, who's a big fan of the mythological heroes. Is it Roman, Greek? I can't remember who's.
Oh, it's Greek mostly.
Yeah, he loves bringing forth the.
Well, he spoke Latin as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's so
spoke
cool.
Ancient Greek, Latin.
Fucking hell, that's so next level.
Yeah.
Jesus. But yeah, I personally love that. I love the idea that there's these, and because you and I, we see things, these crazy things on nights out, on moments in life where you go, I can only describe it to you. And you have to believe yourself that I saw this thing, because I did. Like, you know what I mean? I saw somebody do this.
Yeah.
And I can tell you about it, and you cannot. But most people may not believe me. But I saw it. I fucking saw, with these two eyes and this mouth. I speak to you. I was there. Yeah. But I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it. Yeah, I was walking home once on a night out, and a man and I was I was walking back to a house party, and I was walking up this huge hill in Teignmouth in Devon, and this bin, I had this rumbling, shaking on the left-hand side of me, and it was just about to, I was here, and it's about where that house is over there on the other side. And this wheelie bin rumbled and then fell over, and the contents spilled out all over the floor, and the contents was a man dressed up as Napoleon.
Okay.
And he got out of the bin, put his hat on, wiped himself off, reasonably shit covered, and walked on. And it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. I laughed the whole way, kind of home, but I watched it happen like this.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
It was so funny, and I couldn't believe it was happening. But a man dressed up fully as Napoleon Bonaparte spilled out of a bin. And
I believe you.
Picked up his hat,
put it on,
and walked off
into the night like it was never happened.
There's a few other stories like that from that night as well. But like and it's just things like that are just so amazing. And I like it's the sort of thing you could say that at any meeting of any group of people in a pub or somewhere, and it's like one of
Yeah.
these great pub stories that I'd love to
Well,
tell.
someone
but
walks out of a bin looking
I
like
saw
Napoli.
that.
So
I saw that. That was my
So,
privilege in
that was-
life to have witnessed that. You know, like things like that. I'm sure you must have seen like hundreds of crazy, like things you see at festivals. Like fucking hell. Where'd
I'll
you
tell you
begin?
the truth, man. I've never been to a festival.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
dude,
know.
go to a
I swear to you,
festival.
I've never been to a festival except the one
Oh.
in Gosport. And
Go
the only amazing thing that happened was this guy. This is when I was 14, and he showed me how to light a cigarette with matches. Not that I didn't know how to use matches, but he had a trick where you hold the pack between your index and your thumb, and you just scratch it, but then put it like that, so
Yeah.
you protect it from the wind. That's the only crazy thing that's happened to me at the festival.
Oh, dude,
But
yeah, you
I
need
don't
to
know,
go
I've
to a
never
big
been. I've never been
international
to a festival. I wanted to go to Boomtown.
Dress how you want, and it's like living.
Oh
in...
no, I've been to Stonehenge for the
Okay.
solstice, summer solstice.
But it's like living inside of a lit flame for 3 days, isn't it? It's like living inside of a flame
What do you
of
mean?
human beings coming
Oh,
together,
that,
and this
yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah, it was lovely.
eclectic,
Yeah. Oh man,
crazy
I saw some people just
conflagration of people.
getting into the trance,
Yeah.
getting into a trance. Like they were singing and they were making rhythms, and I couldn't believe it, man, because that was the primordial atmosphere that I was looking for. And I was just watching. I was glad, man, because they were crying while they were singing, and we were singing while they were crying, and we were just doing what they had to do. They were expressing something that
themselves.
yeah, the core of their own beings. Yeah, they were. And it was very pagan. You know, it was
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Christianity hadn't taken over, civilization hasn't taken
Yeah.
over. Your primal impulse is still
Somewhere
there.
in between reptile and
Yeah,
prefrontal
in
lobe.
between, somewhere where you know how trance music is,
Yeah.
right? You heard trance music, you know,
Yeah,
house trance music,
Mm.
but that's still there, man. Especially in cultures like Native American music and stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever heard it.
Oh yeah.
Or Mongolian music, like there's this band
through
called
singing.
Hun Bo Chu. Yeah, that's it. That's this band.
Oh, dude, Ross and I have sat hours listening to that.
There's this band
I'm not
called
joking.
Hun Bo Chu, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's basically Mongolian throat singers. I'll send you a link to that. And
Please
it's
do.
basically that. It's trance. It's
Yeah.
supposed to get you into that trance. You're supposed to reach somewhere. You're supposed to.
It's so old.
It's so old. It's primal. It's primal. You have to get to it.
Yeah.
And whatever modern religions have to say, which I believe that what modern religions have to say is basically they're saying they're trying to stop you from accessing that primordial.
The pineal gland, almost.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to stop you from accessing your primal impulses that that have to be discovered.
Because it's organization.
You have to sin. You've been banished from the garden, man.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like the I think oh god, but going back to that,
But I saw them, man, in Stonehenge. I saw them. Those people just singing and banging on drums, and they were crying while they were singing.
You know,
and they were making up stuff as they were singing, and they were just
incredible.
Clint,
Clint Eastwood by the Gorillaz. I ain't happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless.
Yeah,
but not for long. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming. I can do all of the rapper in that is Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Right.
Finally, someone let me. I can do all of that. I used a lot better than I can now. I can't do it that much anymore. But I used to be able to rap that whole song, and I was once sat in a big drum circle at the end of an evening on the last night of a festival. It was the first festival I ever went to. It's called Beautiful Days Festival in Exeter.
Are those small festivals?
Yeah, the little one. Yeah.
Because I know this guy who
Primal Scream were there.
Really?
Yeah, Primal Scream. And the wonderful lady I was with.
About those small remote festivals I should be going to, and I haven't.
The wonderful girl I was with at the time, it was the girl I really did fall in love with her. She was the first true, massive, huge love of my life. Unfortunately I missed Primal Scream, and she dragged me off to some other time. The cool thing was that I ended up going to see a DJ it was either Mr. Happy or it was somebody who'd worked on Mr. Happy. You know Mr. Happy?
No. No, I have no idea.
Like, and there was like, oh, dude, anyway, I was on something crazy at the time. That's beside the point. We had a whole day of that, and I was absolutely, I was in a different realm. I wasn't on planet Earth anymore. I was in an ancient time, surrounded by crazy, weird, wonderful people that were all.
You're
on
gonna
this-
have to hook me up to some of those festivals.
Oh, dude, I'm going to Pink Pop this
Where's
fucking
that?
summer,
Where's
and
Pink
it's
Pop?
like 230 quid a ticket, mate, and it will
Seriously?
change your fucking life.
Serious?
Yeah, come with if you want.
Yeah? Yeah?
Come with.
Yeah? Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pink Pop.
Pink Pop, mate. Come with you. I'm going
Yeah,
Belgium.
where
Me
is
and
it?
Jack, we're gonna
In
get
Belgium?
us. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna go and spend
Sweet.
like half a week in Amsterdam afterwards.
In Belgium?
Yeah, I think so. Belgium.
Cool.
It's on like the Belgium-Dutch border.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Pink Pop.
Yeah,
Pink
dude,
Pop.
absolutely.
Pink
And
Pop is-
dude, Chili Peppers are performing. Post Malone's one the next day. Guns N'
Seriously?
Roses are the day after
What?
that, dude. It's literally, it's gonna be, yeah, it's fucking amazing, mate. And
Alright,
there's
cool.
like me a few tickets left, mate. Fucking get one.
Okay, cool.
If you get
How
one,
much is
you're more
it?
than welcome to come with
How
us.
much is it?
230 quid.
Oh, fuck.
That's the whole weekend though.
Oh, shit.
230 quid, and that's everything sorted. Fucking done. Actually, no, it's like more like 190 quid actually, because that's 230 euros.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
But yeah, please do. But yeah, you're more. If you get tickets and you want to come with us, please tag along, because we've got like Jack and I have like a big like
Is Jack this guy?
No, that's Ross. Jack's the other guy. He's coming back later at around 8 o'clock. You'll meet Jack.
Gorillas?
Oh god, I remember which one that one was. Oh, that's yeah. Forever hand in hand, take it all in on your stride, as it has mass, making all my like ass going. But yeah, I know. Sorry, I was in this festival and I lost
Are there any
everybody.
girls coming around later?
Pardon?
Are these?
Maybe. I don't know. I never
Oh,
know. I
I
never
don't know.
know. I never potentially.
Maybe
we'll,
I'm drunk.
We'll see.
I'm pissed.
We'll see.
Oh,
Well, we're
yeah.
nearly 2 hours into a podcast,
Oh.
my friend. So,
Okay.
we'll put a cap on the podcast soon if you'd like.
What do you mean?
Well, stop if you want. We're still podcasting.
Yeah, we still podcast.
Yeah, live. We're still live right now on the internet. I've still got our one viewer.
Yeah.
Woo! That was loud. Woo!
Yeah.
I don't care. Anyway, yeah, so let me. I'll finish
I'm
this.
drunk.
dude, me and my on the other podcast, me and my mate Greg, he is
Yeah.
my Greg, and
Yeah.
I'm his will. I am
Alright.
his will forever.
Yeah, what happened?
We drank 1 second, don't we?
You drank
We
1
drank
second.
this entire bottle.
What is that?
It is whiskey, single malt
Ah,
Scotch
seriously?
whiskey. We drank that entire bottle. Well, no, I tell a lie. We drank about 9/10 of that entire bottle on the podcast, and we were and
Yeah, you
three
must have
bottles of beer,
smashed.
three bottles of beer apiece, and an entire tray of meat with a whole box of biscuits.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
and we were absolutely lit. Yeah, don't forget the microphone. You were absolutely lit the entire at the end of the podcast, and I went to go and see the new Joker film afterwards.
Oh man, I need to see that. I haven't
Fantastic.
seen it yet. It's coming out on the 10th of February on DVD, so I'm gonna buy that.
Spectacular, really.
So what do you think? What do you think of that film?
Excellent. I loved it.
Right.
It was a different take on the Joker than I'd seen.
I
It was.
think that was the right take on the Joker, because when you think about Suicide Squad, man, that wasn't what the Joker was supposed to be. When I think of Suicide Squad, I think of someone who's too emotional, who doesn't have the intellectual capability to calculate the wrong that he does in The Dark Knight.
I hated Suicide Squad. I thought it was one of the worst pieces of shit I'd ever seen. It was the only movie I've ever went to go and see at the cinema, and I wanted my money back.
Who was it?
Jared Leto.
Harley Quinn.
Oh, Margot Robbie.
Apparently she's
She's
got
got Birds of Prey. Yeah,
apparently she's got a film coming out.
Dude, I really
It
need to go
doesn't
for a
look-
piss.
It doesn't look good. Yeah, you go
Tell
ahead.
me why it doesn't look good. Tell everybody why it doesn't look good.
Because it's cheesy. No, it's cheesy. It's in the sense that It's about a woman who seems to have some kind of midlife crisis. Nothing that you'd think about that you'd think of when you think about a psychopath. A psychopath is someone who thinks a little more ahead of time than someone who's just having some kind of girly, oh, I can't find a husband, blah blah blah. I just want to hurt for the sake of hurting. I don't think that any psychopath hurts for the sake of hurting. I think that there's something much more sadistic than just hurting someone, like manipulation, getting to power, something like that. Some sort of self-satisfaction that you get into manipulating somebody. Not in that way, though. Yeah, she's not psychopathic enough.
Really?
In that new film that's coming out, she doesn't seem as psychopathic enough. She
Yeah.
seems like a woman that's having a midlife crisis. You need to see the trailer.
Yeah,
It feels like one of those romantic comedies. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
It's about Harley Quinn, though.
yeah, but birds of prey. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I know what you mean. Oh, can I finish the? Yeah. Can I go back to my story when I was at that festival?
Yeah.
So I was in that big, crazy circle of people, and we're all singing songs. And because it was like all of the tents had shut down at that point, like the tent that was doing these live bands had shut down, like the drum and bass tent had shut down at about 1:30 in the morning. Main stage is shut down at about 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
Everything else like had all shut down.
Yeah.
And we were all in this big, huge circle of people, and we all started just doing like
Drumming.
different drum beats and
Yeah.
stuff, and people started doing old music, contemporary music. There was a guy with a guitar, and then he kind of like stopped playing, and he started going do 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 do, and everybody started going like it was like a bit of a piss take almost. Everybody was like half-assed and just going, I am happy, I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. And like then it got to the chorus bit, and everybody was like, finally someone let me out, I'm okay. And then everybody forgot the rest of the rap lyrics. I kept going, and full volume, everything, and bass of my voice, everything. I did the whole rap verse, and with about 2 other people in the whole circle. This is a circle of about 50 people. Maybe no, about 38 people, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm being
38.
speaking high pipe over.
That's very.
I don't know. It feels like that.
Sounds-
I don't know. I'm weird with math.
Yeah.
I have a calculator, which is an inability to perform arithmetic function. So I'm pretty bad with like mental arithmetic, but I also am pretty good with like random number spectrums and shit like that occasionally. And I'm pretty good at algebra as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did all the rap bit for the entire song, and at the end of it, we all like, it wasn't like I didn't get a round of applause, but we all went "Way!" when I finished doing the oh god, you. So that's the so I'ma stick around with Russ and be a mentor, bust a few rhymes, and motherfuckers remember what the thought is. I bought all this so you can survive when law is lawless. Feeling sensations that you thought was dead, no squealing. Remember that it's all in your head. And everyone went, and everyone went like, woo! Like, it was just going back to what we were saying. It was that animal, amazing, reptilian, crazy, awesome moment. Primal between everybody.
Just that stuff where you just forget about everything that's gotten into your own brain. You know, that civilized, educational stuff that they fucking fed you. I don't mean that it's bad. I don't mean that it's bad at all. But sometimes you just have to let the animal side out, and it's forbidden to. You know what I mean? It's forbidden to for the sake of keeping society secure, which I'm not against. But because if you do let it out all the time, you know there's gonna be some kind of rape, murder,
I know what you mean.
I mean, I think it's dark, you know.
It's good to have an outlet for it. I think that's why
Yeah.
boxing
It has
sport
to
is
be
so good.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about boxing, man. I was thinking about boxing later earlier on, and I was thinking about how boxing and fighting is such a homoerotic, um, uh, activity for men.
Hmm.
Because I was thinking about men's rights, and I was thinking about how men usually are lonelier than women. So you know how hard it is for a man to get laid, right? Yeah.
I've had some
Yeah, right.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was thinking that violence is is the physical contact that's going to give you some kind of closure. So whether it's boxing, whether it's martial arts, anything like that, it's a kind of closure and it's a kind of expression that you can't.
I know where
I,
you come from. Yeah.
I don't know how to explain
I
it,
know
but I
because I
think
know.
that it's part of the primal stuff as well. I think
You're kind of talking about like the whole like the pent up animosity and energy that's created as a result
everything
of
that's being repressed and that has to be
repressed
expressed, and
sexual.
unfortunately for men it comes out as violence. Not necessarily unfortunately, but it's something that
It's a
as men it comes out.
it's a
It comes
common
out.
and
It
it's a
just does.
recurring theme which can't be ignored. It's
Yeah.
something that it's something that you're simultaneously taught as something in popular culture and many different outlets, and all sorts of like people that you would regard as cool are people that they get laid
like
all
Tyler
the
Durden.
time.
Think
And then
about
they
Tyler
have
Durden.
Tyler Durden.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's somebody who's very he's
Very
beautiful gentleman.
yeah, very masculine, and like he's
Very
the kind of
masculine.
man that every young man, late teenager would want to be.
Yeah.
He gets the women, he gets the business. He's the leader. He gets
Yeah.
the business going. So you always admire him, especially when you're young. Especially when you're young, man, you're so influential.
Fight Club's
influential.
genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's only there during the positive times. He's never there during the really bad times.
Yeah, he's not there, man, because he won't be there because he doesn't have any interest.
Yeah, doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't exist. Yeah, well, because Tyler Durden is the other guy.
Edward Norton. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a name in that, by the way. The credit scene is XXXX.
Who's it?
4 X's. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I still remember this. I watched as a kid. Me and my best mate growing up, we used to watch it almost every evening after we went to the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think Fight Club is one. I mean, actually, man, when you think about it,
every young masculine dude growing up should watch that movie.
yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion,
but when you think about it, man,
it teaches you how to
because Fight Club
harness.
was filmed in the 90s, wasn't it? It
Yeah,
was
dude.
based on a book, but before that, there was people such as Robert Bly. Because I've been looking into the men's movement, and he was of that sort of mindset too. He felt like men had lost their masculinity in our modern times. And he was basically part of this poetic movement that was supposed to get back to the primal root of things, and get back to the man living in the woods, that kind of stuff. Sort of not mindless, but not necessarily educated kind of man. He was supposed to be the archetype of the masculine, whatever you want to think of. But I feel like, and if it actually it even goes back further than that, it's Henry Thoreau, something like that, an American poet that said that most men live lives of silent misery or something like that.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before.
It's something like that. It's something like that. And you realize that actually, man, between the masculine and the feminine, it's men that have always had a problem in growing up. Like I feel like men have a problem in maturing. We have a problem growing up. We have a problem taking care of our own selves. If we don't have something to aspire to, we just fall down.
Yeah.
Whereas women seem to, I don't know, women just flow. I feel like femininity blooms more than anything. If you're taking this as sexist, man, and misogynist,
No.
just tell me.
I'm enjoying listening to you.
Because you're looking at me like
No,
fucking
no, no,
messages.
no, 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 no. I'm no, no, no.
But I feel like femininity seems more straightforward, like it blooms. It seems to be natural.
I think that women receive a lot of mixed messages as well in terms of what is kind of expected of them and what they should do. But I don't think that that should. I in no way, especially from my own like upbringing in society, not my own upbringing at home, which is very wonderfully measured. In terms of my comparative against a lot of my peers, there's a lot that is to be said of like confused messages which are given to people, and I think that you need positive outlets for things. And
That's what I mean by
in
button.
terms of sexuality and sex itself, I think that condoms are a magnificent thing.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
think that-
Condoms and the pill are fucking.
I'm upset with younger me that I didn't use it more. Luckily, I had myself tested like a few
Yeah.
like last year. Since I've had any, anyway, but like but I think that's a really good thing though.
I think
Is
it's one of the
that
great- yeah.
is that I think that condoms are a magnificent thing because I think it gives you an outlet for sex without almost any negative repercussions. All that's left down to us now is to make sure that we channel the focus of, because sex is one of the main, it's a good solid oligopolized percentage discussion of society. So it deserves to have its voice heard, and we can't fucking brush it under the rug.
Well, no,
But
mean,
at the same time, sex should also have its time and its place as well. I don't think it's the sort of thing.
At the moment, it's everywhere around you.
Yeah.
You look at music videos, you see it.
Absolutely.
You look at fucking Game of Thrones, it's there.
But I don't think
TV series.
I think that it should be something that it is talked about, but respectfully, not not repressed to within anything. And unfortunately, I've no idea in terms of age of when it should be produced. But I definitely think though that like things like, I don't know, like I never know. In terms of judgment, I always thought that I was aware of it. All I can go on is my own experience. So my own experience of it was that I started becoming very aware of sex at 13, but I didn't start having engagements properly in terms of that until I was about like sort of 14, 15, 16 was when I ended up. But I knew that I wanted it, but I didn't know why, and I didn't fully understand.
But most of the time, you didn't know what it was.
But I knew what the end result of it was, which was kids, which is what like I was not afraid of. But I was like very much like, so that's bringing life. You bring new life into their mix with it, which is a 50-50 combination of you and the person you've had sex with, which means that the thing that's being brought into the world deserves to have you thought about what you're doing, which is the most fun thing ever, which is sex, which is awesomely fun. It deserves to have a lot more thought than you just doing it on a whim. Exactly. And that's why condoms take that element out of the equation for me, which is that you're then able to have sex, and I mean, besides of how, and then unfortunately, all that's left in the mix is the moment you introduce condoms, the only thing that's left in the mix is making sure that you don't have rough, unwholesome sex, because young people do have sex.
Well, that's what.
And if you don't think if you think that doesn't happen, then you're ignorant and foolish, and you don't know how kids work. Because you've been to a very sheltered school. Because the vast majority of schools, you'd be fucking crazy. And I don't mean schools as in prep schools. That's a different thing. I mean senior schools. I mean senior schools. Everything after the age of like 12, like the moment you get into your teenage years, it's all anybody doesn't and does want to talk about.
Yeah, well, that's why
it's weird. But that's my experience. Is that it's but I think that I've had a healthy exposure to sex though in my life, and I would say though that like every sexual partner I've ever had though, I've had a positive encounter, and I've kept in contact with everybody past my first time that I've ever had sex, and my most recent. I've had I still talk to them, and we still have a good, positive relationship. And some of them are married, some of them have kids now. Some and
How old are they?
you know,
Really cool.
a big range. Most of them around sort of between like my age, year below, my age, year above, 2 years above. Like and
It's weird, man, when you
2 years
think
below
When you
as well.
think about it, having kids in your 20s, can you imagine that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
20. I can't personally.
I
I mean,
can't.
in terms of me, but I know plenty of people that do have kids, and I've grown up with people that I went to school with since I was 9, and they have kids now, and they had kids like the year after we left sixth form, which was God when you're 18, 19. And my first girlfriend the person I lost my virginity to had a very young child. She has a teenage pregnancy, but she's done. And I'm not just saying this is a very strong, independent woman. No, she's done amazing things and come back slugging from some real crazy down lows, and has done so where most people that would have experienced what she's experienced would have failed and gone into repute and self-destruction. She's come back fucking swinging and is very well organized. And a lot of respect for her for that. If somebody she knows, or she knows me, or is listening, I'm not stroking your testicles or your ego. I couldn't do what she's done if I was, fucking hell. Yeah, but it's going back to what we were saying. It's the number patterns, the random occurrence of stupidity, change, and strangeness, and not knowing. And it's my hand up hold opinion on life and existence as we know it is that nothing is black and white. It's all grey. Existence is grey, and finding out what the perfect medium grounds between everything are. And I'm sorry, but no matter how bad your experience of anything is, whether it's drugs, sex, music, arts, death, or anything, it's all grey. There's all weird,
There's no
horrible,
black and white.
strange areas in between everything that you think's good and bad. Yeah. I think that's a reasonable place to probably round the podcast off soon, really.
Yeah, there's no black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you so much, Cedric, for coming on, mate. It's been an
no
absolute
worries,
fucking
man. It's been
pleasure.
good to be here.
Dude, you fucking awesome. I can't wait to do this again. Fucking get your sexy Francais ass back on here as soon as possible.
Sure.
Allez, bleu.
Allez, bleu.
Thank you, sir. And thank you ever so much, everybody, for joining us on Biscotti Conversations for this other wonderful session we've had. And I look forward to seeing you all again and having you all as wonderful viewers again. And thank you again for the number 1. Bye.